before you head out the door.
And here in Snohomish County, there is plenty of snow on the ground. It's already creating some challenges in multiple communities. We'll show you coming up.
And Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan tracking when another round of lowland snow could be on the way. Good Day Seattle starts now.
Live from Fox 13 News, this is Good Day Seattle.
Well, hi there, everyone. Just about 8 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm Erin Mayovsky.
I'm Bill Wixie, and we are dealing with another round of snow on this weather alert day, the after effects of that latest round of snow. You can stay up to date with the latest school delays and closures, and there are a number of them scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
We also have team coverage this morning. Sean Chitness and Taylor Winkle are tracking the snow throughout the region. Adam Gerke has the latest on the road conditions.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan, a look at our forecast and what is to come throughout today. Brian, huh?
Okay, this morning we had a bunch of snow, a good dumping here through King County and up into Snohomish County. Are most of us done with the snow? For right now, I would say yes. The exception is up in Snohomish County. Still seeing some lighter to more moderate snow showers up near Arlington, basically between Arlington and Marysville along I-5, and then as you work your way out to Granite Falls. This is dissipating, though. And most of us now are in the clear, at least for the time being, when it comes to snow. You still got what you have on the ground to deal with, and you still have some ice to deal with as well. Even that little cell down toward Olympia is looking better. But as we zoom out, here's what we have to hit us a little bit later on today. See all this down towards Portland? This is going to spin up into our area coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. And that will eventually, as the sun goes down, as temperatures cool, that will be in the way of some additional snowfall accumulation later on tonight. So 31 in Everett, 33 in Olympia, 30 right now in Seattle. This low pressure system will continue to move its way onshore, continue to spit in some moisture throughout the day today. Now through the afternoon, I'm expecting more of a rain and snow mix with heavier bands producing wet snow. And then tonight through Thursday morning, that's our best chance for additional snow accumulation. A trace to up to 3 inches is possible here in the overnight period, which could mean for us another tough commute tomorrow morning. All right, that's a look at your weather here to start. Let's send it on over to Adam Gerke. He's got a check on traffic this morning. We had a really rough start. Still looking tough out there.
We did, Brian, and right now the troubles for us, we've kind of been able to track it as the snow has moved north. Well, right now, Marysville-Stimson crossing northbound 5, closer towards 144th. This collision hangs into the right lane, not doing us any fun and any favors if you're trying to move your way north in through Snohomish County. Southbound 5, moving out of, say, Smoky Point down through Marysville, doing just fine. But, you know, the concern that we've had this morning has been about keeping our speeds in check and increasing our following distances. We've seen that be a big help in pretty much every situation. Right now, US 2 has been one of those points that also saw some of that snow, and where we've turned on the road weather index, you can see where the snowfall currently happens to be happening. But the big concerns earlier this morning were North 405 from the Renton Curves into Bellevue. Continue to slow go yet this morning. Slushy conditions on the roads. Not our easiest drive. Rest of the region seems to be passable with care once we get going. Do want to turn attentions, though, to the north end, and specifically talking Monroe and specifically talking Sean Chitness. John, what have you seen at this point?
Hey, Adam. Well, things are calming down a little bit now that we don't have any snow coming down, but there is still plenty on the ground, 2 to 3 inches. And so we have a good viewpoint here of Highway 2, which was one of the more challenging drives that we made this morning across Snohomish County, first working our way from Seattle north to Everett on I-5 and then coming out this way. Highway 2 was where we felt the ice the most. And so as the morning commute continues, we can see people are taking it slow, giving themselves plenty of time. Also want to share a couple issues that we've already learned about. WashDOT said that somebody hit one of their plows in Everett. So that's one more reminder to be careful and give yourself some more space. Really 200 feet is what the advice is in that situation. And then also we just learned that Snohomish County's fire department had to put chains on while they were responding to a fire between Linwood and Edmond. So that just gives you a sense of how much this is still an issue for the professionals as well as the everyday drivers, even though the snow may have stopped right now. So that's what we're seeing here in Monroe. Let's check in with Taylor Winkle. She has been working the east side for much of the morning, and I'm told now you are in Kirkland. Taylor, how's it looking?
Yeah, that's right. We are headed from Kirkland to Bothell, and it's not looking too bad, especially comparatively to what everybody saw in the early morning commute. So this is 405. Again, we are northbound right now, 405. And this is what it looks like. Mostly wet. There is some slush in some areas more than others. And it's still pretty slick out here. You are going to want to give yourself some extra space as you have been hearing, but this road has been treated. It's not looking too bad. You just got to give yourself some extra time, not slam on your brakes. The basics of being a good, friendly neighborhood driver. So earlier this morning, we did talk to WashDOT, and they told us 405 is their priority today, and they have been moving their resources around as needed. So as you just heard Sean there, make sure you're giving those plow drivers some extra space and take your time as you head out this morning. But again, one last look here in Kirkland headed to Bothell. We're going to keep going to Bothell and let you know what that commute looks like. For now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
And I want to show you the scene from Leavenworth this morning. A viewer sent in this video, and if you look very closely at the beginning of the video, I think I saw a deer.
Yes.
Yep, there it
Walking
is.
by there. There you go. That's a buck. Yeah. There's a big buck, too. And a look at Issaquah earlier this morning. That is not a big buck. This was taken by our Carly Henderson, and this is Waffles. Heading out into the snow to do her business this morning, taking a stroll in the snow, and you can see it piling up there on the hydrant. This is about what I was seeing in the Rose Hill area of Redmond as well, about, what? I mean, 2 inches, maybe 2-3 inches out there.
Yeah, that was, probably around 4 or 5 a.m. or so, where we really got a good dumping in that area. And then even in the downtown core, around 3:30 to 4 a.m., we were getting snow on the roads downtown Seattle. That has since melted. Good news there. Still seeing a little bit of snow out in the parking lots. 30 degrees is your temperature. Still cold, still a chance of ice, especially on some of the sidewalks, overpasses, and bridges. All right. This low pressure system will finally make its way on shore coming up here tomorrow. But in the meantime, it still continues to spin in moisture. It's just been hanging out off the coastline, just parked there, bringing us these showers throughout the past few days. The shower that brought us all that snow to the central part of King County and has now moved its way up into Snohomish County is starting to dissipate. But you saw with Adam's traffic camera over there at Stimson Crossing, some major issues still along I-5 due to these kind of heavier snow showers that continue now up through Arlington. So we're going to watch that. And as we continue on through the day, notice we have more showers ahead. Now, most of us will warm up to above freezing as we get into the afternoon, so it'll be more of a rain and snow mix at that point. But later on tonight, as the sun sets and as those temps cool yet again, we're going to be looking at another chance for snow accumulation as we get into the evening hours. So 20s and 30s, most of us are real close to freezing or below freezing. Watch the showers continuing to push in from the south. They'll do that throughout the day. And as we get into the 6, 7, 8 o'clock hours, okay, now we're seeing a chance of snowfall here around the greater Seattle area, especially as we get past midnight and into the early morning hours. So expect more snow to wake up to as we get into your Thursday morning. The big question will be is there going to be enough moisture at that point in the night? And how quickly are those temperatures going to drop here around the greater Seattle area and really the greater Puget Sound area? So quicker the temperatures drop, the longer the precip hangs on, the more snow we're going to wake up to tomorrow morning. Winter weather advisory is in effect for that entire blue area that stretches from the Skagit County, Whatcom County line all around the Puget Sound area and then out toward the coastline. And here's your snow forecast with our European model, which is one of our more reliable models. And I think this nails it pretty good. About 1 to 3 inches. I think that's a good forecast here for tonight, as long as that cold air arrives early enough and those temperatures drop early enough and the moisture hangs on. So be prepared for that. Bottom line is spotty snow and ice this morning, and then more snow is possible later on tonight and into Thursday morning. And in the middle part of the day, during the daylight hours, we'll see some mixed showers. So that weather alert hangs on through tomorrow morning, and then we dry out Friday, looking much better with partly cloudy skies. All right, Adam, let's send it on over to you. You have a look at traffic. How are things looking up in Snohomish County?
Yeah, Brian, still the troubles for drivers trying to scooch their way north 5, getting in towards Stimson Crossing with this collision hanging in the right lane. Drivers a bit congested as we roll past this. Not the worst scene, but also not the best either for that matter. But that right lane clearly taken up. Southbound volumes getting through. We still see that snowfall coming down. And the best advice we've heard from the DOT and the State Patrol this morning has been widen out those following distances and slow it down. It will cost you less in the long run in all capacities. Also getting word of new troubles in the, I'll call it the Renton Highlands, almost into Issaquah. State Route 900 at about 164th Southeast. A collision has the roadway blocked in both directions. That just coming in just now. So new problems for drivers again on 900 at 164th Southeast. Northbound 405 has been another trouble spot, heavier through the Renton curves, Kennydale, Newcastle. Did see icier conditions moving into Bellevue earlier this morning. That continues to be problematic for us. Into Seattle, northbound I-5 tightens up right around the Michigan curve, moving into the downtown core. And a quick tour looking to the north. Again, here's that Stimson Crossing area. We do see northbound I-5. Little delay getting in past about 144th, just north of 116th. Olympia to Tacoma, this checks in the clear. Puyallup, Parkland, you've handled all right, but looks like we may be getting some snowfall in through the Puyallup area right now. Kitsap and Key Peninsulas checking in. Kitsap and Mason County and the Key and Kitsap counties, peninsulas, all checking in reasonable shape as well at the moment. But bringing it back out into the downtown Seattle core, we took a man who is quite used to cold temperatures. In fact, often stands without a hat and gloves. We'll say, John Hopperstad, good morning. What are you finding where you're standing right now?
Hey, Adam, the roads in Seattle looking all right now, but we've seen some heavy snow throughout the night, and it is still lightly snowing as we speak. We'll have the latest on conditions coming up.
All right, time right now is 8:13. Welcome back in on this weather alert day. We're waking up to fresh snow throughout the region, and this is a look at the West Seattle area around 7:30 this morning. Looks pretty out there, so take it easy on the road. So Fox 13's John Hopperstead is nearby with a look at how things are looking now, especially on those roads. John, good morning.
Good morning, Aaron. Yeah, you know, we wanted a white Christmas. We may get a white Super Bowl, our unofficial holiday, but today we've got a white Wednesday, even here in the city of Seattle. Although not a lot of snow on the ground, it is here. We got a dusting overnight of this nice, light, fluffy stuff, but we do have some pictures of what it looked like very early this morning when we were looking outside. All of a sudden, that snow was coming down, and it was coming down heavily in areas all over the city of Seattle, and it was sticking to the roads with these freezing temperatures we're dealing with as well. So that was a concern early this morning, because if that snow starts to accumulate on roads here around the downtown Seattle area with all the hills and the tight streets, it could be a problem, not just for the morning commute, but people getting around that live down here and work down here. Fortunately, it let up as the morning continued. Now, the temperature's still hovering right around 32 degrees, so you always have concerns about black ice or icy conditions. The roads are wet from that earlier snow, but right now they don't seem to be a problem at all. But it is still snowing out here. So light, though, you can almost not see it, but it is still snowing. We'll see what it does the rest of the day. I'm hearing maybe it'll snow tonight and tomorrow morning as well, but for now, roads looking pretty good here in Seattle, although it has snowed enough that Seattle schools decided to send all the kids home. They will still have school today, but they'll have to do it remote learning from inside their house, guys.
All right, thanks, John, for that update. Cold temperatures in Whatcom County continue to be a concern. Over the past few days, the temperature hasn't gone above the 20s, and the wind chill has felt like it is in the single digits. So very cold out there. If you or someone you know needs a place to get warm, severe weather shelters in Bellingham and Ferndale are open overnight through Thursday. The Lummi Nation Cold Weather Shelter is also open and offering meals. Sleeping cots and showers are there too. It's open to tribal members. Okay, 8:15. Brian's got kind of a whiteout shot here coming your way.
Yeah, this is up in Arlington. Snow continues to come down in that area. Wow, look at that at the airport right now. Painfield, not too bad. So most of the snow north of Everett at this point, but it continues to fall up in North Snohomish County. It is tapering off, but in some areas like Arlington, it still continues to fall pretty heavy. This all stretches out into Oso as well. Now heading down south, and I'm talking down into Oregon. You see all this? You see that moisture being fed from the ocean? Yeah, this is all going to move its way up into our area coming up later on today. And with that, we expect another chance for snow later on this evening in this blue area. And that really stretches from the Skagit County line all the way through the Puget Sound area. So anybody could see some snow later on this evening. Here's what I'm thinking. Now through the afternoon, spotty morning snow. And we're going to be looking at an afternoon rain and snow makes as temperatures warm back up in the mid-30s. Heavier snow bands, though, could produce some wet snow. So heavier precip drags that cold air down to the surface, and you can get that wet snow, brief accumulations. It's something to watch out for on the roads, because that can get real slippery and slushy real quick. Tonight through Thursday morning, as temps fall, we have a better chance at actually seeing some accumulation. Trace to 3 inches is possible. And then I'm expecting a tough Thursday morning commute because temps are going to be below freezing overnight, and that can cause those issues. All right, let's take a look at Seattle proper here. And I want to take a look at various weather models. The Canadian model, the European model, going with 3 inches in Seattle. One of our higher resolution models, that's the HER. That one is a little more conservative, going with a little under an inch in the downtown area. So that's not going to cause as many issues as, let's say, that one is. Okay, so it's going to be about a trace to 3 inches. Tough forecast again as these showers continue to be spotty. We're going to be watching it throughout the day. So morning snow showers, an afternoon mix, then evening snow. I'm expecting highs back in the upper 30s and low 40s. And again, the spotty nature of these showers as we continue through the afternoon and evening is making this a tough forecast. But be prepared for a tough morning commute tomorrow and perhaps a tough night on the roads if you're traveling around late. South Snohomish County will be into the upper 30s. We'll be in the mid to upper 30s up in North Snohomish County. All right, let's move past this. Let's get into Friday. Friday, we dry out. Friday, we're partly cloudy. Then we're going to hang on to a chance of showers as we get into the weekend and into early next week. Monday and Tuesday bringing wintry mix. I think for Super Bowl weekend, for the most part, we're looking okay, but there is still that chance of a spotty shower hanging on that could give us some trouble over the weekend. All right, that's your weather. Traffic has been tough this morning, of course, as weather and traffic collide. So what are things looking like now, Adam?
Yeah, Brian, been following along what is giving us grief in through the Marysville area, northbound 5, trying to get up towards Smoky Point and Stimson Crossing. Just as you get north of 116th, you've got this collision hanging in the right lane. This is giving us some mild delays to and through the north. Also watching what's happening in the Renton Highlands moving towards Issaquah. State Route 900. At 164th Southeast, that is where you've got a collision that's blocking the roadway in both directions. No estimation as to when that's going to reopen. So 900 out of commission for the time being. Still watching North 405, still rolling tough through the Renton curves. I-5 into Seattle, also tightening up right around the Michigan curve. We've got our work cut out for us. Here's that business moving north, getting up towards Stimson Crossing on northbound I-5. And then for drivers in through the south end, you've actually handled okay along I-5, 16, 512. Possibly some snowfall hitting right in through the Puyallup area right now. And understand that we're getting scattered showers of snow throughout the area, as Brian's been illustrating. In fact, just had one viewer call us and say, it's snowing in through the SeaTac area. Well, sure enough, here's a cell that's moving through kind of that almost the Kent Des Moines area and could be triggering in towards the SeaTac region. So sure, we believe you. And the general rule still continues. Wider and longer following distances and slower speeds. That's going to be what's required. Mountain passes also looking at this point. Stevens Pass with traction tires advised, but Snoqualmie Pass and White Pass, traction tires required. Chains for the big rigs. Aaron and Bill, back over to you.
Adam, thank you for the updates. Local lawmakers are getting ready for the 2026 World Cup, how a new bill will help keep rideshare prices from surging during those big events. And your Wednesday morning pet tricks are coming up next. You've seen dogs playing poker, right? Well, we have a similar masterpiece. That's right after the break. Stay with us.
Good Day Pet Tricks. Sponsored by Phillips Law Firm.
All right, come on, gather all. It is time for Pet Tricks, and we have one to kick us off. First up, this is Viola, Bandit, Baxter, Bailey, and Ginger. They're playing with a giant ball. They've got their whole soccer team out there.
It is the whole team.
So you mentioned dogs playing poker. I think this may be dogs playing soccer.
Yeah. A lot of dogs know how to really handle the large, the small, the medium-sized balls with their nose, or maybe they pick it up with their mouth and take it around.
I love that ball, by the way. That looks like a lot of fun.
I know. It's a good size.
Would agree.
I think it's a good size for the dogs to hide out on either side, though. That's sent in from Sherry in Gold Bar, so thank you so much to sending that in and putting it our way. Next up, this is from Victoria in Nia Bay. This is Athena loves to chase the red laser pointer. What animal doesn't love to chase the pointers on? It's such a fun game for the owners and the pets.
Good way to get them exercise indoors on a perhaps snowy day here.
And I love about it is that they seem to continue to chase it no matter what. All right, well, we want to see more of your pet videos. You can upload those super easily at fox13seattle.com. Just click on the Good Day button and look for Pet Tricks.
Tracking another round of morning snow and icy roads coming up, the trouble spots, and how much longer to give yourself for your morning commute. And we want to see the snow in your neighborhood. Send us photos or video, and we'll show them on air. It helps us tell the weather story to find out where the snow has fallen and the impacts that it has had. Send them in. You can use the QR code on the right-hand side of your screen or go to fox13seattle.com/poll.
Now in Good Day Seattle, another round of snow is falling this morning. How long the flakes will last?
And as we track the slick roads, we are talking with Washington State Patrol about what troopers are seeing out there on the roads this morning.
And we're tracking delays and cancellations from schools to airports. A look at the latest numbers. Good Day Seattle starts right now.
Live from Fox 13 News, this is Good Day Seattle.
Hi, everyone. 8:30 on your Wednesday. Good morning. Hi, I'm Erin Mayovsky.
I'm Bill Wixie, and another weather alert day as we wake up to more snow and ice this morning, tracking school closures and delays. There are a lot of them. We have the very latest at the ticker on the bottom of the screen.
And, of course, we have team coverage across our area. Let's begin, though, and start with Fox 13's Sean Chitness, where it's snowing in Snohomish County right now. Good morning, Sean.
Hey, Bill and Aaron, good morning. Yeah, so we've been here in Monroe for quite some time. Plenty of snow on the ground and some challenges for folks on the roads here that are still going to be part of their drive if you're making it out on Highway 2 this morning. We were in Everett earlier and drove east to get here. Felt the ice on the road more so here than anywhere else. And while you can see much of the road now because we have had the snow rain mix kind of come down at a lighter level, I think there's still going to be plenty of concern for folks who are driving in this part of Snohomish County. And we know there have been issues in other areas. There was a report from WashDOT of someone hitting a snowplow in Everett, and then a fire truck for Snohomish County out by Edmonds and Linwood needing to put chains on. So those challenges are definitely still there as we continue to deal with the snow this morning. Let's hear more about what's happening and where we're headed by checking in with Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan. And Brian, I wanted you to know that we saw one guy with a t-shirt earlier, but so far everyone else has been dressed up, so I do not look silly with all these layers for yet another day.
You got to stay warm, Sean, and we got an email for you. A viewer sent me an email. This is Jennifer Tucker, and she says, bring Sean home. He's been out in the worst cold, the wet and windy events that we have experienced. I don't know what he's done to offend people, but he's done his penance. Great job, all of you. Appreciate the work. You've been doing a great job out there. We sent him up to western Whatcom County yesterday.
Thank you.
This is a little bit warmer, right, Sean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say she probably doesn't realize that the wind chill was so bad yesterday that I'm actually happy to be out in Monroe today where we're just around freezing.
You're doing great, my friend. Great job out there, and great job to all of our crews. Let's take a look here at your weather this morning. And I want to start up in Arlington, the snowiest spot I could find here with all of our weather cameras. This is at the Arlington Airport where the snow continues to fall. This band of showers is kind of stuck up there right now in northern Snohomish County. Even though it's dissipating, it's still bringing snow to Arlington, continuing on up north into the Skagit County border. Now, heading farther south, look at all this available moisture that's going to be moving its way up into the Puget Sound area coming up a little bit later on this morning and into the afternoon hours. So right now, temps are very close to freezing. There is likely still some icy spots in Snohomish County and King County. We're a little bit warmer than freezing down towards Tacoma and Olympia. But even with those temperatures, if we get a quick hitting heavy downpour, that is going to be sticking snow. So highs today back into the upper 30s. I'm expecting a few more snow showers here and there. We'll catch an afternoon mix because temperatures will warm up enough. But if you get heavy downpours, it brings that cold air from high up down toward the surface, and then you can get quick hitting heavy mixed snow down at the surface. And then as we get into the evening tonight, temperatures will cool and we're going to be back to snow accumulations. We'll talk more about that coming up. Let's send it on over to Adam Gerke. He's got a check on the roads here this morning. We've been all over the map this morning. Where are the problem spots now, Adam?
Sure have, Brian. Yeah, and right now still watching this delay for drivers northbound on I-5, trying to get on in towards Marysville. And just north of Marysville, as a matter of fact, getting up past Stimson Crossing, that's where you've got this collision just north of 116th by a few clicks, and you've got the right lane impacted by this. Traffic slowing just a bit getting in through this point. Southbound volumes don't seem to be too frightening. And we do kind of see this general snow slush mix on the roads, making things particularly treacherous as you start moving further north. I've also had troubles in the Renton Highlands on 900, closer to 164th southeast. The roadway blocked off in both directions. No estimation as to when that's going to reopen, so that continues to be a snug spot. Around the rest of the central Puget Sound area, northbound 405 stays a little snug in through Kennydale and Newcastle, and North 5 into Seattle. Surface streets and side streets concerning this morning as well. Icy conditions here to watch for as you get out of your own door. through your driveway and out into your own neighborhoods. That's going to be concerning and something we have to watch out for. Now, considering what we were seeing yesterday in the north, closer towards the U.S.-Canadian border, Skagit, Whatcom, Island counties been concerning for us as well. To that end, we've got Trooper Kelsey Harding on the line. Trooper Kelsey, what is moving the needle for you this morning?
So currently for Snohomish County, we're seeing a lot more of our collisions further north in Snohomish County, that Arlington, Marysville area. Not necessarily vehicles making contact, but like one-car ditches and just people losing control and going off the roadway. So definitely icy out there, and people need to slow down to make sure that we can get to our destination safely.
Right. And so that in mind, what has been sort of one of the bigger trouble spots that you've been following this morning? Is there anyone in particular?
Currently, a lot of troopers are up by State Route 530 on I-5. So that area has just kind of been the worst for us. So we're looking probably about milepost 208 to milepost 211 is where we've seen a lot of vehicles off the roadway or striking the Jersey barriers or guardrails. So that's definitely a trouble spot for us in Snohomish County.
Yeah. That in mind, also, does it appear that, I mean, in comparison to what we were seeing yesterday in the Whatcom County area, we were seeing a lot of icy conditions, and some folks maybe not heeding the message then. Does it look like maybe people are starting to catch on and learn that they need to be slowing down at all? Do you see any change in behavior?
I mean, I hope so. I haven't heard a whole bunch of more collisions coming out on air. I listen to our Ever Air, which is where I hear all of the current collisions where the troopers are. So not hearing tons more, so I'm just hoping that everybody is, listening and making sure that you have visibility out your windshield, which means, removing the snow from them or ice, whatever current conditions are on their cars, to slow down and make sure they give themselves extra time to get to their destination.
Right. I think that kind of follows in with sort of the best advice that you have for drivers going forward. What happens if someone finds themselves in a slide? What would you suggest they do?
If a vehicle sliding, you don't want to heavy brake, because that's just going to make you lose control more. You actually want to steer your way out of it. So, you got to not panic and just keep control of the vehicle. So the biggest thing is to not slam on the brakes, because then you might put yourself into more of a spin or going off the roadway. So you got to control the vehicle by steering out. All
right. And so the overall messages this morning, Trooper Kelsey, what would you say?
The overall message is just, drive for the weather conditions. We are seeing a lot of snow and ice, and so when we have adverse weather conditions, our driving behaviors need to change, and that's what's decreasing our speed, giving more following distance, and giving ourselves extra time to get to our destinations.
Well put. Trooper Kelsey Harding, thank you so much. Bill and Aaron, back over to you.
All right, Adam, thank you so much for that update. Good reminders out there. Meantime, we are tracking flight delays and cancellations at SeaTac this morning. So far, there are 25 delays and 19 cancellations there. So just allow for some extra time and make sure to check in with details before you head to the airport.
The Kraken continue their hunt for a playoff spot. We have highlights from an overtime thriller against Detroit when we come back.
The sun is trying to creep out of the clouds here in Seattle, but we do have enough snow that fell on the ground overnight that kids staying home from school today here in the city. We'll have the latest coming up.
8:40, it is time for your morning sports minute. The Kraken fall to the Red Wings at home, but it was a great game.
Oohs and ahs from the crowd here. 3 minutes left. A spring pass. Chandler Stevenson's in. He scores!
The Kraken trailing for much of this game. Shane Wright did his part with 2 goals. The Kraken force overtime, and the Kraken lose in a shootout 5-4. The Sounders have trophies on their mind as they continue training camp in Spain to wrap up their preseason preparation. Now with a reloaded roster, there's a lot of hardware on the line for the Red Green this spring. In just a few weeks, they begin CONCACAF Champions League play ahead of other major tournaments like the Club World Cup.
The sting of last year hasn't worn off. I mean, we were close in multiple competitions. You know, we couldn't push through. I think I sense a renewed commitment to, win something this upcoming year.
So a minor setback. Reed Baker-Whiting is expected to miss some time after injuring his hamstring. Their MLS season opener just a few weeks away. They host Charlotte at Lumen Field on Saturday, February 22nd. And that's your morning sports minute. Thousands of fans expected to take part in local FIFA World Cup events in 2026, and chances are many will be using rideshare to get around town. A proposed bill aims to stop excessive pricing during the World Cup and other large-scale events. Senate Bill 5600 would cap the prices at no more than 20% above what is paid to the driver. We heard from drivers who support this. The companies that would be handcuffed by the move argued that it would be the opposite of its intended effect.
Any driver who has worked these big events can tell you that a lot of people getting rides definitely should not be driving themselves. So in a time when we're having a national conversation about being gouged at the grocery store and gouged at the gas station, I think we shouldn't be gouging people who are just trying to get a safe ride home.
The bill would also allow local jurisdictions to designate safe event pickup zones. Get ready to pay more for your electricity in Snohomish County. Customers will see the hikes starting in April. The increase comes after a year of extreme weather hit the area, costing Snohomish PUD millions to restore power. The hike will apply to the daily base charge. The average single-family homes can anticipate an increase of $6.40 a month. It'll be $4 for multifamily homes or apartments, and small businesses will pay about 80 cents a day. But the utility says this is all because of the severe weather in 2024, most notably the deadly bomb cyclone, which cost PUD $16 million to restore power.
We've done a lot of cost-cutting measures to try to keep this rate increase as low as possible.
I mean, where do you cut? You got to eat, you got to pay rent or mortgage, you have to, provide, you have to survive.
PUD said that it has money allocated for future weather events, but it's too soon to tell if this increase will cover their budget through March of 2026. PUD has an assistance program if you're struggling to pay your bills, and we have details on that on our website, fox13seattle.com. Heavy rain and mountain snow making things tough for communities cleaning up from last month's deadly wildfires in California. More than a foot of rain has already fallen across the region, and forecasters warning that downed trees and power outages are likely in the coming days.
Does tend to saturate the soils, and then we do unfortunately see it lead to a lot of trees down.
We expect debris and mud flows. We are out actively cleaning debris basins, more than 154 debris basins.
Later in the week, the storm will bring some much-needed rain to parts of Southern California, but in L.A., meteorologists say the conditions could trigger flash flooding and mudslides in areas scarred by wildfires last month. Tracking snow across our region this morning. This is the scene in Mercer Island. A viewer sent this one in, and you can see a lot of snow on the ground on the island in Lake Stevens. A lot of snow on the ground this morning there. And go Cougs, by the way. All right, 8:44 right now, and we want to get a look outside with Brian McMillan, and this is the scene in Seattle. Yeah, we're going to check in with John Hopperstad, who is just outside our building on Westlake Avenue. How's it looking out there, John?
Yeah, Bill, go Dogs. Actually, I am looking over Lake Washington right now. I'm seeing some blue skies. I actually saw the sun creep through the clouds a couple of minutes ago here. So things looking up for commuters around the Seattle area. Where we are, though, here on Westlake, there's still some clouds over, so there's a very light snow coming down right now. That was not the case overnight, though. There were some real concerns this morning because we had heavy snowfall in the area, big fat flakes flying all over the Seattle area and sticking on the road. The temps were low and that snow was sticking, creating some treacherous driving conditions early this morning. And you can see we still have the remnants of the snow, some really light, fluffy stuff here. But now at this point, you only see it on the grass and the vegetation here, a little bit on the parking lots, but the roads look great. They're wet, but the temperatures are starting to go up, so I don't think we have to worry about black ice just yet. Although listening to Brian's forecast, things could change here into the evening and then tomorrow morning as well. But for now, things looking pretty good here in Seattle, despite the fact that we have had snowfall here, guys.
All right, let's get a look at the roads with Adam.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. This morning, still watching northbound 5. Drivers trying to get up in through Marysville and further north towards Smoky Point, right around Stimson Crossing. We've got this collision still hanging in the right lane. Earlier, we were talking with Trooper Kelsey Harding in the North End districts there, and basically, the word was we weren't seeing as many collisions of cars and cars, but a lot of spin-out vehicles where folks have been traveling too fast for conditions, finding themselves into the ditch or finding themselves into a barrier. Very possible this morning. So you got to keep our speeds low and slow heading out and venturing out one more time. So that continues if you're making your way north, getting up in through, say, Marysville, getting up in through Snohomish and Skagit counties and further up to Whatcom County. Even though things are particularly flat in through Whatcom County, still that concern for spinning out and peeling out very real. Renton and the Renton Highlands, State Route 900 at 164th Southeast, still the roadway blocked off in both directions. No estimation as to when that's going to reopen from an incident earlier this morning. Again, those concerning volumes northbound I-5 getting in through Marysville. And as we start to look through the south end, volumes out of Olympia moving towards Tacoma. I-5 is handled and fared just fine. 512 looks like a lot of folks have stayed home this morning. Doing the right thing, right? Why venture out if you don't have to? Northbound on the Valley Freeway, northbound on I-5. This all checks out to be in much better shape, but still the icier concerns also in your own neighborhood. That's been one of the other things we haven't been discussing as much, is just how slick it could be in some of the municipalities and some of the smaller neighborhoods yet. Brian, looking over to you.
Yeah, and if you live in some of those highland neighborhoods as well, Renton Highlands, Issaquah Highlands, you're going to run into a lot more of that as you go up into elevation. Arlington right now, look at all that snow that has fallen up there. Payne Field up in Snohomish County, they got a fresh batch of snow. Looks like they've cleared the runway, so that is good news. It's all due to this low pressure system. It continues to just hang out. It has been parked off to the west over the ocean for the past several days now at this point. It will eventually make its way on shore as we get into Friday, tomorrow. But in the meantime, it's going to continue to spin up showers, and we are continuing to see those right now. I want to go up to Snohomish County and up toward now Skagit County. Right along the line, we are still seeing some light snow showers. Most other spots are looking okay, but we do have more moisture heading our way. Now, if it hits us in the middle part of the day, overall, that's going to be an okay thing. But I do think if we see a heavy downpour, we're going to be looking at some wet snow, which, as you know, can accumulate really fast on the roads and kind of leave a slushy mess. So even if you're traveling around in the middle part of the day, especially before these temperatures warm up, we could see another dose of snow. I think most of the action is going to come a little bit later on tonight and into the early morning hours, but yeah, during the daytime, it still could be messy. 31 in Everett, 29 in Bremerton right now, still 30 degrees in Puyallup. So today, rounds of showers over and over again here as we get into the afternoon. It will likely be kind of a rain and snow mix at times in the Puget Sound area. What I'm concerned about is after sunset tonight, as we continue to see these showers spin in, especially as we get toward midnight, those temps drop, and we're going to be looking at accumulating snow again. So we could wake up to a few inches of snow on the ground around the greater Puget Sound area. We're going to be watching that closely because it's going to be dependent on two things. How fast do those temperatures drop and how much available moisture is left before it finally wraps up. So let's take a look here at what I'm expecting. Winter weather advisory around the greater Puget Sound area, around 2 inches possible. Some spots could see a little bit more, certainly some spots less. This is our European model, okay? This one's done a pretty good job over the course of the past few days, so I'm going back to it. Look at that, 1 to 3 inches of snow. I think that's a good forecast for us here. Most of that coming after sunset tonight. So the lowland snow threat continues again. If we see a heavier band of precip, it could produce some wet snow this afternoon. And then tonight through Thursday morning, 1 to 3 inches possible. It's going to be probably a tough Thursday morning commute. At the very least, it'll be icy. At most, it'll be snowy in some spots. So a weather alert for you tomorrow as well. Then we dry out on Friday. Your weekend looks better. There's still a slight chance for a brief, quick-hitting shower, and we'll stick with a chance for a showery mix as we get into early next week. Bill?
The city of Tacoma selected its new interim police chief. What we know about the woman who will take charge. And this week, Fox 13 giving you a chance to win 4 tickets to a night under the big top for Cusa, Cirque du Soleil's electrifying acrobatic experience in Miramar Park. Tickets include a special meet and greet with the artists after the show. Just watch Fox 13 News at 10 tonight. Wait for the code word and then enter on our website, fox13seattle.com/contest for your chance to win. And just a few days away from the big game, you can watch Super Bowl 59 right here on Fox 13, live from New Orleans this Sunday night.
Welcome back. 8:54. The city of Tacoma just picked its new interim police chief. Former Pierce County Deputy Patty Jackson will take over the department starting February 24th. She spent the last 35 years in the sheriff's department and narrowly lost the election to become Pierce County's next sheriff. She's taking over for Avery Moore, who officially resigned on Monday.
Remains for all 67 victims in the Washington, D.C. plane crash were recovered after almost a week. Last Wednesday, an Army Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines jet collided in a fiery explosion over the Potomac River. Everyone on board each aircraft died. The chief medical examiner is still trying to positively identify one set of remains. Federal investigators are trying to piece together the events that led to the collision. The NTSB expected to issue a preliminary report on the accident within 30 days.
We'll take a live look at the White House, where President Donald Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump said he wants the U.S. to take long-term ownership of the Gaza Strip, saying the war-torn territory could become the Riviera of the Middle East.
Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area.
So to do it, the president said he wants all Palestinians to leave Gaza. Arab leaders strongly oppose Palestinians relocating to other countries, saying it would allow Israel to take over the territory. Netanyahu backed the plan, although initial projections estimate it will take 5 years to rebuild Gaza. But White House officials say it could take even longer at 15.
Growing backlash against billionaire Elon Musk and the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. Outside the Treasury Department, crowds gathered to protest Musk's access to the agency's sensitive payment system. Meantime, Democrats working on a bill to limit Musk's control, calling it the Stop the Steal Act.
So today, Leader Jeffries and I are joining together to push legislation to prevent unlawful meddling in the Treasury Department's payment systems and protect Americans across the country.
The Treasury Department sent a letter to Congress saying that Musk and his DOGE team have only been given read-only access and can't make any changes to the payment system. DOGE's next targets reportedly are the Small Business Administration and the Department of Education.
50 rallies are expected to be held across 50 states today in protest of President Donald Trump's actions in the White House. Known as the 50-51 movement, the protests are planned to take place at state capitals nationwide today. The movement says it aims to support free expression of Americans' dissatisfaction with the current administration. Olympia's protest is planned to meet at 2:30 p.m. today at the Tivoli Fountain near the state capitol building. From Thurston up to Snohomish County, where another rally is planned for noon today at the Snohomish County Courthouse. The group is protesting the federal funding freeze and marching to senators' offices to demand they fight back against new Trump policies. That rally and march will start at the courthouse at 12 o'clock.
A major milestone to reform Seattle's waterfront. Mayor Bruce Harrell and community leaders celebrated the groundbreaking of a final piece of a major revitalization project. This is at Bell Street between Elliott and First Avenue. The project will improve access for people walking and biking between Belltown and the 20-acre waterfront park, creating a more active, green, and safe space.
So this project invests $5.2 million of the $806 million invested in the total waterfront park project, our largest civic project since the Space Needle. And I've said this before, but I need to double down on the concept that the downtown is powered by people, their energy, their ideas, and reimagining public spaces core to our downtown activation plan. So this sort of missing piece of it, if you will, is vital toward our continued success.
Construction is set to be completed by this summer.
Live from Fox 13 News, this is Good Day Seattle.
Well, hi there, everyone. Almost 9 a.m. on your Wednesday morning. Good morning. I'm Erin Mayovsky.
I'm Bill Wixie. Snow, dangerous driving conditions, and a number of closures. It's a weather alert day as many of us wake up to scenes like this one in Monroe. We are seeing streets and sidewalks blanketed in snow and ice.
And we want to learn more about that weather situation. So we're going to get right over on this weather alert day to Brian McMillan.
Yeah, let's take a look right now here. What is happening right now? At around 3:30 this morning, we had a heavy band of snow showers move its way through King County and through Snohomish County. That snow was widespread, and it piled up quick here. In a lot of locations, we had about 1 to up to 4 inches in some spots. Downtown Seattle also got hit earlier this morning, but the road's looking just fine at this point. 31 degrees is your temp. And notice we've dried out from the majority of the Puget Sound area, with the one exception right there along the Snohomish and Skagit County line. Other than that, we're looking okay with the exception of a few flurries. Now, we do have more showers on the way. All this will start making its way up into the Puget Sound area coming up later on this morning and into the afternoon especially. And then as we get into the overnight period, we're likely going to be seeing some more snow. 20s and 30s are our temperatures right now, still very cold up in western Whatcom County. I haven't talked about you as much this morning, but you still have those Fraser Valley outflow winds blowing strong and single-degree wind chills. Meanwhile, in the Seattle area, we're looking at spotty morning snow. We're going to see a mix of rain and snow here this afternoon as temperatures warm. In heavier downpours, though, we could see wet snow sticking to the surface. And then as we get into the evening tonight, and as those temperatures continue to drop, we're back to snow yet again. More on that coming up in a bit, and the timing of it all. Let's send it on over to Adam. He's got a check on traffic. It has been a busy morning on the roads, and it started down here in King County and moved its way up north.
Yeah, that story seems to continue. Exactly. It is drifting north. Here we have North 5 still getting up out of Marysville and in towards Stimson Crossing. The right lane's impacted by this collision that's still hanging in the right lane. Drivers giving it a slow pause as you roll on by, and that is wise advice. Slowing it down and increasing your following distance, the best advice I have for you this morning if you're headed north. Meanwhile, State Route 900 in the Renton Highlands at 164th Southeast. The roadway remains blocked in both directions because of an earlier incident. Into Bellevue and into Seattle, 405 and I-5, 90 and 520 have all cleared out. Surface streets and side streets in your neighborhoods and into the Cascade foothills continue to be quite icy, though. So again, can't stress it enough. Got to keep our speeds low and slow and increase that following distance enough. Now, looking to the north, we took Sean Chitness and we said, Sean, yesterday we're going to freeze you in Whatcom County. This time we're going to bring you a little further south. We got you in Monroe. What are you seeing now?
Hey, Adam, good morning. Yeah, we're able to thaw a little bit because we're here in Monroe and it's not as cold. But I do want to mention what you were talking to Trooper Harding about last hour, the concern for drivers. And here along Highway 2 by Kelsey Street, I am looking for what she was talking about, making sure people have cleared all that snow off of their cars. For the most part, people have done that. But here in Monroe, this part of Snohomish County, for those cars that were parked overnight, we can tell that there was plenty of snow that was left over or accumulated this morning even. And so you do need to kind of dig out that car. One more reason to give yourself some extra time. Here on Highway 2, things have been looking good. We can see most of the road, but we drove over here from Everett and it was a bit of a treacherous drive. That's where we felt the ice the most in our drive around Snohomish County this morning. Even if you could see the road, I-5 looking better, but still there was snow falling earlier and that was only adding to the challenges here. So about 2 to 3 inches on the ground here. Plenty for people to worry about, and we have had some incidents throughout Snohomish County where either a plow has been hit or a fire truck has needed to put on chains. So it just speaks to the challenges that we're facing for one more day. Another reason to give yourself more distance, especially when you're out on the roads. So that's what's happening here in Monroe. Let's go west and down south to Seattle. That's where John Hopper said is. That's actually where we started our morning in South Lake Union, and there was a decent amount of snow at that hour. How's it looking now, John?
Yeah, Sean, when you were out there, it was really coming down. It is slowed down. We had light snow in the last hour or so, but now, at this point, I'm actually looking at blue skies, and I can see the sun in the distance, especially over Lake Union here. But as you mentioned, when you were out there earlier, that snow was really coming out hard. We got some pictures to show folks, and it was a concern because it was also sticking on the roads at that point, and that could really make things tricky for people in downtown Seattle with all our hills and our tight streets. But that just passed through. It started heading north as we've been talking about all morning, and so we're left with kind of a dusting here, maybe an inch if we're lucky. Good, nice, fluffy snow making everything pretty, and it melted pretty quickly on the roads as well. Right now, the roads are just wet around downtown Seattle. Temperatures are getting a little bit warmer. They've been hovering right around freezing all morning, so we did have concerns about black ice in the area. It looks like that is no longer the case. Things are warming up a bit again. Blue skies and sun now creeping out here in the downtown Seattle area, so I don't think we have to worry about snow in the next few hours, but I do know, I've been listening to Brian all morning, that we could see that change into this evening and then into tomorrow morning as well. So let's check in with him right now on how it is shaping up for the rest of the hours ahead.
Yeah, interesting forecast here coming up over the next 12 to 24 hours. Arlington right now looking very snowy. Saw a vehicle go through right here, and they've seen several inches dumped this morning. Painfield, not quite as much, but you still see some snow on the grassy areas up there. And let's talk about what's happening right now. We have this low pressure system off the coastline. I've been showing you this picture here throughout the past few days. This has been just parked offshore, continuing to spin in moisture. It's going to continue to do that over the next 24 hours before it finally moves inland and moves on. Where we have been seeing the majority of the snow over the past few hours has been up to the north, Snohomish County. Now, that is kind of tapered off out towards Lake McMurray, so good news there. As we take a peek down toward Oregon in the southwest Washington coast, notice all this building up. This moisture is going to move its way up into the Puget Sound area. It's hitting us at an okay time, I think, here in the middle part of the day where temps are going to warm up, but still we could see some wet snow, and that wet snow can accumulate at the surface here, really anywhere, even if temperatures are above freezing. So with those heavy downpours, we've got to be careful. And in a lot of spots, we're not above freezing quite yet. So yeah, 31 in Seattle, 30 in Bremerton. We are not out of the woods yet, folks. Up north towards Everett and Arlington, we're still in the 20s. All right, what's going to happen today is we're going to see those showers feed into the area. This is around noon. You start to see that around Thurston County. This model picking that up as snow, but it could very well be just a rain and snow mix into the afternoon hours as those temps warm up. Then where I'm a little more concerned is once we get past 5 o'clock, those temps dropping quickly around the Puget Sound area, and we're going to be looking at more moisture all the way through midnight and beyond. Now, if the cold air arrives early enough, meaning that if we drop below freezing quick enough, and if those showers hang on into the early morning hours, we are going to see some snow accumulation and wake up to that early tomorrow morning, just in time for the commute. So we'll be watching that closely here overnight. Winter weather advisory in effect for the entire Puget Sound area. And the snow forecast with our European model looks like this. Latest model run gives us about 1 to 3 inches, pretty widespread here. But it is still going to be that kind of hit and miss shower activity. So I would take this with a grain of salt. I would say 1 inch to 3 inches is very possible here for most of us around the Puget Sound. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Now through the afternoon, spotty morning snow followed by an afternoon rain and snow mix. Heavier bands could produce wet snow that could get slushy and could be a little treacherous on the roadways. Tonight through Thursday morning, additional snow accumulation up to 3 inches possible for most of us, and it could be a tough morning commute here on Thursday as well. All right, your 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, another weather alert, morning snow followed by a drier afternoon. So once we get through the precip, we're done with it. We just got to deal with what's on the ground after that. If it does snow widespread, temps won't make it to 37 degrees. They will be a bit cooler than that. As we get into Friday, partly cloudy skies, and then we just kind of stick with a chance of showers Saturday and Sunday. It looks more dry than wet for your Super Bowl Sunday if you're traveling around. And then Monday and Tuesday, we're back to a wintry mix. Adam, I had a viewer send me a message say, hey, when do we see a warm-up coming our way? When do we have a thaw coming our way?
Yeah.
Most of our models don't forecast that until late next week. So I'm talking Friday of next week is when we'll get back into the mid-40s.
So, brace for impact, I guess.
We're just kind of stuck. Yeah. Remember, at most of January, we were stuck in that high-pressure pattern, dry weather, so sunshine.
Yeah.
Now we're stuck in the cold, and we're just going to have rounds of these kind of rain and snow mixed showers here after we get through the next 24 hours.
Boy, we're going to be experts at driving in this stuff by the time this is all said and done, aren't we? In the meantime, what you're finding right now in through Marysville, northbound I-5, exercise in patience trying to get up past 144th, north of 116th. Earlier collision, it was hanging in the right lane, and that continues to be one of those spots where we had an earlier collision. You still see at least some flashing lights here. That's going to be one concern as we get out. But in addition to what was happening in through Marysville and Everett, still finding troubles in the Renton Highlands on State Route 900, closer in towards 164 southeast. A collision that has the roadway blocked in both directions. No estimation as to when that's going to reopen. That continues to be one of the other big sore spots for us. We followed along southbound 5, southbound 405, all rounding out to be in pretty reasonable shape. Again, those concerns and the small backup still continuing getting up towards Stimson Crossing. We'll lose this icon, and I have a feeling we'll also lose that backup here fairly quickly. But it looks like with the road weather index on, we're seeing a lot of that snow falling mainly to the north into Snohomish and Skagit and Whatcom counties. But again, the bottom line for what we've been talking about today has been about slowing your roll. Slow it down. increase that following distance and slow down those speeds. Same applies to boaters, right? Go slower. It will cost you less. Same applies to what happens when we're driving in inclement weather, like today, for example. All right, Aaron and Bill, back over to you.
All right, Adam, thanks for the updates. School closures and delays are trickling in as we wake up to snow this morning. We are bringing you the very latest schedule changes to the plans there for school closures. Plus, keep sending us videos of your snow in your neighborhoods. We want to see those. Still ahead, we're checking out what you are waking up to in today's Make-up Poll. We'll be right back. Right now, police in Kirkland are asking for people to be on the lookout for this missing boy. James Wilkinson is 8 years old with brown short hair. He was last seen near the Inglenook Apartments. He might be near QFC, St. Edwards Park, or Thoreau Elementary. If you see him, contact Kirkland Police right away. All right, well, check this out. WashDOT shared this video of coyotes frolicking through the snow. These videos are from the overpass over this weekend. That is on the Snoqualmie Wildlife Overpass. And they're just kind of hanging out and enjoying it. A little sunshine out there running through. And in Leavenworth, a viewer sent in this video, and you can see a deer, maybe a buck, walking by there. It was on the bottom of your screen. It just moved through pretty quickly as we went through. And then again, check out this furry little guy, Issaquah, earlier this morning. These photos were sent by our Carly Henderson, and you can see her dog Waffles is also enjoying a stroll in the snow. all the pretty pictures with the snow out there this morning, creating some problems on the roadways. So make sure we just take it easy on the roadways out there as we get going. And we look at our Fox 13 studios. We've seen snow on the ground early this morning. Yeah. We saw it on some of the roads, but right now it looks like a clean drive there.
By the way, thank you for your photos and videos that you've been sending us. Keep them coming. Go to fox13seattle.com/poll. It's where we usually do our mega poll. And if you have snow in your yard, if you're playing with the kids or the dogs, send your photos and videos. We'd love to see them. And we'd love to get some new video all morning long here. We're going to extend our show an hour as well, so you could see some. You want to see sledding?
Somebody's got to be.
I got some sledding. I have sledding out in Belfair. Okay, I'll show you that coming up a little bit later on here. Let's get to our Lake Union camera right now. This is right outside our studios. Roads looking just fine. That guy's on his bike, so yeah, it's probably fine in regards to the roadways. But you know what? It's 31 degrees. There's a lot of spots here around the greater metro area that are going to be slick still, especially as you get off the beaten path, you get into the neighborhoods. Right now, we're looking mainly dry, okay? That system that brought us, or that cell or that band of showers that brought us that snow earlier on went north, impacted Snohomish County, and is now dissipating up along the Snohomish and Skagit County line. But what I'm watching for the afternoon is all this right here. This is going to be moving up into the area coming up over the next several hours. So spotty snow and icy spots this morning. You're going to be dealing with that, especially on the side roads. And then more snow is possible later tonight and into Thursday morning. Depending on what model you look at, we're going to be looking at mixed showers, but depending on what model you look at, the time the temperature cools down enough to get accumulating snow is going to make all the difference for us into Thursday morning. So I want to look at several models, okay? Some of them have us cooling off faster, having the moisture stick around longer, like these two, the Canadian and European models. Both do a pretty good job usually. Now, the American models only give us an inch here, GFS and the HER. And the graph model, the other American model here, giving us about 1 inch to 2 inches. So I think around 2 inches is probably a good forecast. But there will be some areas that don't get quite as much. There will be some areas that get a little bit more. One of our models that's a little more conservative here with this is this one. This is the HER model. Watch as we get into the afternoon hours. Just kind of want to show you all the solutions here, or all the possibilities. This brings us a rain and snow mix at 2 o'clock. Yes, temperatures well above freezing. Rain and snow mix. And then as we get into the 5 o'clock hour, 6 o'clock hour, we're starting to see those showers kind of ease up a little bit. And it's still, at that point, a rain and snow mix because temperatures aren't back below freezing. So we'll see how this model progresses as we get into the evening hours. Do we run out of moisture before the temperatures can get cool enough? That is the big question. I do think some will hang on, and I do think we will see some snow in the overnight period, leading to a tough morning commute tomorrow. But a lot of us will be back to where we've been the past couple of days, upper 30s, low 40s for the afternoon hours. The big question is, how fast will we cool off, and how long will that moisture stick around? South Snohomish County into the upper 30s. North Snohomish County will be into the upper 30s. So a challenging forecast for us here over the next 24 hours. But be prepared for another chance of morning snow here for your Thursday. Partly cloudy skies on Friday. We'll stick with showers on and off through Saturday and Sunday. Real light, real spotty. But if it happens overnight, that could mean some snow or some icy conditions for the morning hours. Monday and Tuesday, we're back to kind of a wintry mix. All right, now on over to Adam. He's got a check on the roads. I would hope that things are kind of easing up now, Adam, that we have the sun up, shining bright.
That is certainly the hope, right? Where we start to see things thawing out a little bit. This on State Route 900 closer and towards Newport Way, so on the Issaquah side of the equation for drivers thinking about State Route 900. But this morning we've had some difficulties on 900 near 164th Southeast. Earlier the roadway was completely blocked. Traffic is alternating through now in both directions, so that's actually easing up a little bit. But that's going to be a delay if you're trying to get from the Renson Highlands in towards Issaquah. And we've seen that, you know, you've got the wet roadways. Getting out around your own neighborhood still could be a little bit icy as we get going, but we're noticing mainly a lot of our systems have moved to the north, moving in towards Skagit and Whatcom counties as far as the snowfall continues at this point. Central Puget Sound, We've had a light morning as far as our volume is concerned. I think a lot of folks are taking the option of a snow day, and that is working out just fine for us right now. 405, I-5, 9520. We're keeping up with reasonable speeds. Earlier this morning, really had a slick situation between Renton and Bellevue once again, but right now we look to be in okay condition. Moving in through Stimson Crossing, northbound 5 is easing up as far as volumes are concerned. We had an earlier collision here, but that seems to be on the mend. And our mountain passes, I understand Stevens Pass and now Snoqualmie Pass have both moved to traction tires advised. So sun up, starting to make a little bit more difference on the roads for us. Aaron and Bill, back over to you.
Adam, thank you for the updates. In California, the Pacific Coast Highway is closed until at least Friday because of potential mudslides. More than a foot of rain has already fallen across that area and region. It's raising concerns, though, that debris basins in the canyons will quickly fill up with fallen trees and other runoff.
With the combination of those debris basins being blocked and other drainage facilities being immediately taken out of function, the water, as you're saying, the mud flow is running over already eroded hillsides could be a very bad combination.
And later this week, the storm will bring some much-needed rain to parts of Southern California. But in Los Angeles, meteorologists say the conditions could trigger flash flooding and mudslides in areas scarred by wildfires last month. Well, coming up, we're checking out the snow in your neighborhood. When Good Day Seattle returns after the break, we're diving into viewer pictures and videos in today's Mega Poll. And we're helping you safely plan out your day with extended coverage this morning of today's conditions. Stay with us throughout the 10 a.m. hour for the latest on closures, headaches on the road, and the forecast. And don't forget tonight, it's Special Forces at 8 o'clock, and that is followed by Fox 13 News at 10. temperatures in Whatcom County continue to be a concern. Over the past few days, the temperature hasn't gone above the 20s, and with the wind chill, it's felt like it is in the single digits. So if you or someone you know needs a place to get warm, severe weather shelters in Bellingham and Ferndale are open overnight through Thursday. The Lummi Nation Cold Weather Shelter is also open and offering meals, sleeping cots, and showers. It's open to tribal members.
It's time for the Toyota Good Day Mega Poll.
Oh boy, you bet it is. Let's get right to it here. We've asked you today to send in your weather picks. I think today we've been seeing a lot more weather picks from around the area as opposed to just a few isolated locations because a lot of people got in on the fun. Daryl in Bremerton, look at that beautiful shot. Is that a Christmas tree farm? I bet it is.
Yeah. Hubert's Christmas tree farm.
There you have it. Yes, and you know, before you know it, it's going to be Christmas season again. If you're
Brian, that's a little.
I know. Hey, Rebecca made a snowman. It's her first snowman in years out in Arlington. It dumped pretty good up there in Arlington this morning. A couple of hours ago, really saw that kicking in. I love the dogs. I love the dogs so much in the snow. They get their face right in there, don't they?
And you have a new dog.
I do. I told my
that has been out in the snow for the first time, right?
Right. I told my wife, like, we got a few inches at our house, so I'm like, get him out there. I want to see what happens. Cindy in Bonnie Lake, look at that. Tuesday's snow. It's so beautiful out there. Yeah, Bonnie Lake, beautiful any time of year, but especially when it snows. Let's take a peek at our next one from Chris in Redmond, and this is downtown Redmond.
Pretty.
Downtown Redmond, pretty, absolutely. And one more for you here. Let's get one more. Oh, that was the last one. All right, we got lots more coming our way here. Thank you for sending them in. Here's how you do it: fox13seattle.com/poll, or use your cell phone camera right now. I'll give you a second here. Click on the QR code up at the top right of your screen. So you just point your camera right at that thing, and then it'll take you right to that website. You can upload your videos. You can upload your photos. We would love to see them, so send them our way.
We're live in Snohomish County, where there are plenty of challenging conditions on the ground and on the roads throughout, so we will have a live report coming up from here in Monroe.
And some of us are going to be paying more for electricity still ahead, the community where rates are expected to increase.
about 9:30. It's a weather alert day as snow and frigid temperatures blast our region. The winter weather is prompting several closures, and you can see those at the bottom of our screen. It's also creating dangerous travel conditions in some areas. We have full team coverage this morning of the winter weather across our region. But first, we want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan to see what it looks like now.
You know, in the dark hours this morning, it was an absolute mess for a lot of King County and Snohomish County. The roads have improved a bit now that we're starting to see the sun come out. It's helping melt things. It's helping evaporate some of that moisture. It's still very cold, and we have more on the way. As we zoom out a bit here, you can see the northern Oregon coast and the southwest Washington coast getting hit with a lot of either a rain and snow mix or downright snow in that area that's stretching into the southwest interior. All that, or a lot of that, is going to be moving its way north coming up over the next several hours. The timing's okay because it's the daylight hours and temperatures are going to warm up a bit, but we still could see some wet snow in the mix. 28 in Everett, 34 down in Olympia and Tacoma. And then heading out east of the Cascades, haven't talked about you much today, but you're in the teens and 20s, and we've been seeing some isolated snow showers out that direction as well. 38 your high today. I'm expecting continued spotty morning snow, really just flurries at this point, and then an afternoon mix of snow and rain. And then as we get into the evening hours, as those temps drop again, we're back to more snow. More details coming up in a bit as far as accumulations go, timing, all that. But let's send it on over to Adam. He's had a very busy morning. I'm hoping things are settling down, Adam.
Brian, it certainly does seem to appear as though we are settling down on the roads with the sun up now, folks, kind of getting a bearing on what's going on. And some of this thawing out just enough that drivers along, say, I-5 moving up in through Snohomish and Skagit and Whatcom counties still going to find plenty of snow for us this morning, but it's kind of turned to a slushish condition on the roads. And further south in through Snohomish and King County and moving towards Pierce County to the south, I think the roads have actually turned out to be mainly bare and wet. There may be surface streets and side streets in a lot of the municipalities and neighborhoods that are still concerning, though. So again, the advice is still keeping your speeds low and slow, and still finding the troubles on State Route 900, the Renton Highlands, right around May Valley Road or 164th Southeast. That was the scene of an earlier collision. Traffic's been alternating through that scene for some time now yet, but that continues to be one other hot spot. So, looking to the north end where some of that snow is a concern yet, Sean Chitness, you've been standing by. What are you finding now?
Hey, Adam, good morning. Yeah, here in Monroe, we were glad to see a couple city plows just pass us by here at the intersection of Highway 2 and Kelsey Street. And Highway 2 looking good here. We really can see most of the road now. That was not the case in the early hours when it was still snowing throughout Snohomish County, or at least this part of Snohomish County. But the need to be careful has been there throughout the morning because there was a good layer of ice. The most treacherous stretch of our drive was from Everett to Monroe on Highway 2 because of that concern related to the ice. Also, it's not really snowing right now, but if you look at the trees over here, there's so much snow that has collected onto these trees and just enough wind that it's blowing that snow and knocking it down to where at times we think it is still snowing here. And there's plenty of snow that is accumulated on the cars, so the advice from Washington State Patrol earlier on our show was to make sure that you are knocking those that snow off. There's those two plows over there that we saw earlier continuing to do their work. But yeah, just make sure you have enough distance, and of course you're clearing the snow so that you can have a safe drive. So that's what's happening here in Snohomish County. Let's go over to King County, say hello to John Hopperstead. He is in Seattle. John, how are things looking over there?
Sean, things are looking a lot better here this morning. The sun has come out in the last couple of minutes, and we're starting to see a lot of melting happening. I saw snow that was still on parking lots here, but that has now melted away. The really only place we're seeing it is on kind of the vegetation and the grass you see here as well. This car just parked here, so there's no snow on it, but there is a car that has been sitting here since early this morning. It does have a light layer of snow on it. That is starting to melt away as well. But what we saw earlier this morning, right around 4:30, was some real heavy snowfall. I think we got some video of that around the Seattle area, Seattle into West Seattle. We were seeing big flakes coming down pretty hard there for a while, and that was causing some concern because that was collecting on the street. That was sticking, and that could have caused a lot of issues for drivers. Fortunately, that snow did not fall for that long. It tapered off. We were then seeing just kind of some light snowfall after that, and since since then, the roads have been pretty good here. I mean, they are wet, and you always have concern about these cold temperatures out here, hovering around freezing, but cars are moving around well in the city, and it looks good for now, although that could change if we see more snowfall through the city tonight into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's commute could be a challenging one as well. Things, though, right now looking pretty good in the city of Seattle. Well, let's check on the east side, because I know they saw a little bit more snow overnight there, and Maria Garcia is in Kirkland right now. Maria, how's it looking there?
Hey, John. Well, this story is really just dependent on where you are. I want to show you right now. Our drive to Kirkland was actually just fine. The main arteries seem to have been well treated. But right now, you're in a neighborhood in Kirkland right now, and this is what you're seeing, okay? I can tell you that there's a lot of snow, and we can actually see some ice underneath that snow, kind of crunchy when you're driving over it. And we've noted that a lot of people are already trying to clear their driveways, but you're going to be seeing a lot of this in your neighborhoods. And in fact, while we were waiting for our shot to get sent over to us here, there was some graupel in the area. So it seems like it's still on and off precipitation to some degree. It is quite cold outside. We're bouncing between 29 degrees, 30 degrees, so still in the freezing range. If you are traveling today, if you can't avoid it and you're needing to exit your neighborhood, at least for now, it seems that that is going to be what is taking the longest, you know, making sure that you clear anything that's on your vehicle. We've seen people doing that as well, and safely getting out of here and then getting into those main arteries, and it'll be easier to travel at that point. Just as a reminder, go even slower than you normally would in your neighborhood as you're trying to get through. But once again, we're looking at 29, 30 degrees. So at least for now, it does not seem that this will be melting off in the neighborhoods at any point soon. But we're going to continue to track this for you and see how people are moving through the neighborhoods. But for now, Brian, I'm going to send it to you.
That's the issue right there. You get a couple of inches of snow, Maria, and then it doesn't go away, especially those shaded areas. Arlington right now. This has been a spot where we got a lot of snow this morning, starting to clear out a bit. Wanted to head down to Olympia. They got a bit of a dusting of snow, not much there, but a little something. 34 degrees your temperature. This morning's snow was basically focused on King and Snohomish counties, and it's a taste of things to come, because I think later on this evening, we're going to be seeing the return of snow showers, and it may be a little bit more widespread. This low pressure system continues to circulate off the coastline, and it's feeding in those moistures from the ocean, and it is heading on up here into the Seattle area, coming up a little bit later on this morning. You don't see much right now, but here it comes. This is now focused just off the coastline. You can see it, more showers are developing behind what is on the leading edge of this. This should all be making its way up into the Puget Sound area over the course of the next, I would say, 2 hours. Timing should be okay. We'll see if these temps warm up. I expect them to. But if you still have spots that are hovering right around freezing around the time that moisture arrives, we're going to be looking at more snow here later on this morning. 20s and 30s right now. I am expecting to warm up into the mid-30s today. That should turn this into kind of a rain and snow mix. But if you get some of these heavier downpours from these showers, you could be looking at some wet, slushy snow that drops real quick and turns into kind of a mess on the roadways. Get into the 5 o'clock hour, we get past sunset, and we still have some moisture left over. We're going to be looking at some accumulating snow. But notice, this is not widespread. Again, it's not a wall of snow. So that makes the forecast a little challenging, because it is going to be in various locations. Some spots get left out. Some spots are going to see a decent amount. But be prepared for a tough morning commute on Thursday. Winter weather advisory is in effect for the entire blue area. That's basically the entire Puget Sound area and the coastline. And I want to take a peek at the European model here, which is one of our better models when it comes to snowfall. 1 to 3 inches expected. I'd say that's about right. I don't expect a lot of spots to get over 3 inches, but 1 to 3 inches would make tomorrow morning really difficult. So bottom line is we'll see a rain and snow mix here in the middle part of the day. Spotty morning snow will end, and then we're looking at heavier bands producing wet snow that slushy mess. And then as we get into the evening tonight, temperatures cool. We're looking at a trace in some spots to 3 inches possible. And again, it could be a tough Thursday morning commute for us. Make sure you stay tuned to the forecast tonight and then again tomorrow morning. All right, here's your 7-day forecast. When do we get a break? I think Friday we'll get a break. In fact, most of Thursday looks dry. Then we get into your weekend, we'll have some spotty showers. Early next week, we can continue to see some spotty showers, a wintry mix both days. Temps are going to stay cool, though, in the upper 30s. All right, let's check on traffic here this morning with Adam Gerke.
Yeah, Brian, this morning been following along, getting out of Seattle, northbound I-5. Now watching for this. Looks like a vehicle off the road and into the ditch of sorts. Is this the worst thing we've seen? No. In fact, this is probably one of the most minor things I've seen so far this morning. Not even really having an impact for drivers on I-5 in either direction. Concerning points, though, State Route 900. Right as you make your way in towards May Valley Road or 164th Southeast, that is going to be a collision that has traffic alternating through the scene. Earlier this morning, we saw a blockage in both directions, but they're alternating through at this point, so that's helping to ease things up. Around the south end, Pierce County, moving into King County, we've had a lighter volume day. Looks like a lot of folks have made it a snow day, doing the right thing, and erring on the side of caution. Not a bad way to be, because earlier this morning, we saw a shutdown of northbound 405 into Bellevue. We saw multiple spin-out collisions, folks traveling too fast for conditions. Erring on the side of caution is not a bad thing in this case. Watching westbound US 2 across the trestle, handling okay. Our mountain passes at this point have moved to traction tires being advised on both Stevens and Snoqualmie Pass. So that does seem to be actually a slight improvement from where we were even earlier this morning. Kind of interesting to watch. All right, Aaron and Bill, back over to you.
And we have an update to a story that we brought you earlier this hour. Police have found the missing 8-year-old boy. He went missing in Kirkland. Now, police have found that missing Kirkland child, so that's good news for that story. Meantime, keep an eye on the bottom of your screen. School closures and delays continue to trickle in thanks to this new round of snow throughout the morning, bringing you the latest schedule changes with extended coverage of today's winter weather here on Good Day Seattle. And a new chief will be leading Tacoma's police department. Still ahead, digging into the interim leader's credentials. And just a few days away from the Super Bowl, you can watch Super Bowl 59 right here on Fox 13 live from New Orleans this Sunday. Our snow coverage continues on this weather alert day. Carly Henderson is live at SeaTac this morning, and we do understand there are a number of flight delays and cancellations at the airport, but clearly you are not at the airport right now. Where do we find you, Carly?
Yeah, so we are in the area of SeaTac. We're at Angle Lake Park, beautiful, sparkling little spot right now. You know, driving down here from South Lake Union, where our office is, the roads were clear. They were definitely wet, but people were kind of driving at normal speeds, which was, you know, a nice change from earlier today. I know driving in from the east side, I was going at about 30 miles per hour on I-90. So totally different situation now. Like the sun is out. It feels like things are clearing up a little bit. Take a look over here. Someone here is making a snowman. So she's working very hard. She's already got the arms on there. We're getting the hair. Hi, we love your snowman. It's so cute. I love seeing this sort of like childlike spirit happening. It's been a long time. I don't know when the last time you made a snowman is, but how gorgeous is this day, right? The sun is out. We've got blue skies down here in the SeaTac area. You already saw my dog Waffles this morning frolicking around. So now it's my turn to get out here and hang out a little bit. Yeah, snow is definitely sticking a little bit. We're feeling that winter magic. There's been a number of people that have been walking around here just taking walks and kind of enjoying it. So it's kind of that like perfect moment where you get to kind of breathe in the fresh air. It makes you feel alive a little bit. And it's not too bad right now. So it's looking good down here, and Brian McMillan can tell you more of what you can expect. Brian, what's going on?
Looking
what's coming
beautiful
up here?
behind you there with that sunshine out, and that sunshine should help evaporate some things, but it's going to be a lot of shaded spots that are going to be still really slick and snowy for a little while here. All right, what's going to happen today? Right now, we're kind of catching a break. A break for now. That won't last because we are anticipating all this to make its way up into the Puget Sound area coming up. Right now, we're getting kind of a rain and snow mix or just downright snow in the southwest interior and down in the greater Portland, Vancouver metro area. But all this will make its way up into the Puget Sound area coming up later on this morning and as we get into the afternoon. The timing is pretty good because that's when temperatures will be well above freezing, hopefully. But if it arrives a little early, we could be seeing some wet snow. We'll see how things pan out. Right now, if you're out along the Long Beach Peninsula out near Nacelle, you see a little bit of green in the mix there. That tells me that's a rain and snow mix. But areas like Hoquiam could be seeing some snowfall. Bottom line is that we're going to see continued flurries, some sunshine in the mix, icy spots for sure on the roads this morning. And then as we get into the middle part of the day, it's going to be more of mixed showers. We'll see rain at times. We'll see chunky rain. And yes, you may get a little bit of snow at times as well. It'll be wet snow, though. And then more snow is possible later on tonight into your Thursday morning. And if that falls, after temperatures drop down below freezing, we're going to be looking at accumulations on the roads that will stick around, and then it could be a tough morning commute here for your Thursday. I want to take a look at various weather models. These continue to update as the morning goes on. Right now, our American models are a little more conservative than the Canadian and European models right now. So 1 inch to 3 inches, I think, is a great forecast. And we're going to be looking at spotty showers here and there. Some areas get hit harder than others. We're going to have to see how this pans out because this particular model here, this is one of our more higher resolution models, is keeping us a little on the warmer side as we get into the early evening. So with that, it continues as mainly rain showers past 6, 7, 8 o'clock. And then it does shift over to snow eventually in the overnight period, but we start running out of moisture. So that's just one model here. This is these showers are spotty in nature. So it's going to be a tough forecast. Again, some areas get hit, others don't. 37 in Everett, 36 in Shelton, 40 in Olympia. Morning snow showers will be followed by an afternoon mix as these temperatures rise, and then we get back to snow later on this evening. Pierce County, you actually might make it into the 40s here today for a lot of you. Is snow common in February? Well, actually, it's the month where we see the most snow on average in Seattle. We average about 2 inches of snow. Last year, we only got a trace. A couple of years ago, we had about 2 inches. All-time record, though, back in 2019. We had 20 inches of snow in the month of February. That was just a few years ago here, folks. All right, here's your 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, we got a weather alert for you because of the morning, but after we get through those initial morning hours of your commute, we're going to be looking dry the rest of the day. Partly cloudy skies for your Friday. We're back to a chance of showers on Saturday and Sunday. Right now, those do look very light, but it all depends on when they fall. If they're falling in the overnight period, we could be looking at a chance for some light dusting. We'll see how things pan out there. Wintry mix in store for us Monday and Tuesday. We're not done yet, Adam, and I mentioned this earlier. I want to mention it again. If you're looking to break out of this cold snap that we've been seeing, you're going to have to wait until late next week because we're going to remain cool until then.
Bundle up in the meantime, right? Making sure you've got the extra blanket in the back of your car just in case. And this is the time of year where it's advised not to let your gas get down too close to the E level, right? Because you never know when you're going to get stuck in a backup because something terrible has happened in front of you. Example, this morning we saw a collision on northbound 405 getting into Bellevue, and the road was basically blocked off for an hour and a half. A lot of people sitting there idling. It's a lot of gas. And you want to stay warm, right? Meanwhile, northbound on I-5, trying to get out of Seattle right now, just north of 85th, watching for this vehicle off the road into the ditch. Did see the DOT make a quick arrival there for a second. They kind of waved signals and drove on. So State Patrol's handling that from now on. Meanwhile, State Route 900 at 164th Southeast still watching for a collision, traffic alternating through the scene. And new troubles just outside of Duval, southbound 203 getting in towards Cherry Valley Road, hearing of a collision that may have us a bit tied up. The bottom line around the rest of the sound is in the major highways and byways, we've kind of turned to barren, wet roadways, and there's a lot of slush that's involved further north as we go up. But through your own municipality, getting out of your own neighborhood right now, still a slick start. So we're going to keep our speeds in check, slow them down, and increase those following distances. And for, if anything, any reason, the person ahead of you may be creeped out by the fact that you're getting too close on their tail. Just a thought. All right, Aaron and Bill, back over to you.
Still to come, President Trump shared a big proposal for the Gaza Strip, saying the U.S. should take ownership of the area. After the break, how he would go about doing it and the nation that just supported that idea. This week, Fox 13 giving you a chance to win 4 tickets to a night under the big top for Cusa, that Cirque du Soleil's electrifying experience at Merrimore Park. Tickets include a meet and greet with the artists after the show. Watch Fox 13 News at 10 tonight. Wait for the code word and then enter on our website, fox13seattle.com/contest for your chance to win. One person is dead, 5 others hurt after a shooting at a cosmetics warehouse in Ohio. Police say it happened just before 11 p.m. They do believe it's a targeted attack and the suspect doesn't pose a threat to the general public. Police still searching for a suspect and a motive. President Donald Trump says he wants the U.S. to take long-term ownership of the Gaza Strip, saying the war-torn territory could become the Riviera of the Middle East.
I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area.
Now, to do it, the president said he wants all Palestinians to leave Gaza. Arab leaders strongly oppose Palestinians relocating to other countries, saying it would allow Israel to take over the territory. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu joined Trump at the White House, backed the plan, although initial projections estimate it will take 5 years to rebuild Gaza. White House officials say it could take 15.
Tense moments. There is growing backlash against billionaire Elon Musk and the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. Outside the Treasury Department, crowds gathered to protest Musk's access to the agency's sensitive payment system. And meantime, Democrats are working on a bill to limit Musk's control, calling it the Stop the Steal Act.
So today, Leader Jeffries and I are joining together to push legislation to prevent unlawful meddling in the Treasury Department's payment systems and protect Americans across the country.
The Treasury Department sent a letter to Congress saying that Musk and his Doge team have only been given read-only access and cannot make any changes to the payment system. Doge's next targets reportedly are the Small Business Administration and the Department of Education. 50 rallies are expected to be held across 50 states today in protest of President Donald Trump's actions in the White House, known as the 50-51 movement. The protests are planned to take place at state capitals nationwide today. The movement says it aims to support free expression of America's dissatisfaction with the current administration. Olympia's protest is planned to meet at 2:30 today at the Tivoli Fountain near the state capitol building. From Thurston up to Snohomish County, where another rally is planned for noon today at the Snohomish County Courthouse. The group is protesting the federal funding freeze and marching to senators' offices to demand they fight back against new Trump policies. That rally and march will start at the courthouse at 12 o'clock.
The city of Tacoma just picked its new interim police chief. Former Pierce County Deputy Patty Jackson will take over the department starting February 24th. She spent 35 years in the sheriff's department and narrowly lost the election to become Pierce County's next sheriff. She's taking over for Avery Moore, who officially resigned on Monday.
Well, get ready to pay more for your electricity if you live in Snohomish County. Customers will see the hikes starting in April. The increase comes after a year of extreme weather hit the area, costing Snohomish PUD millions of dollars to restore power. The hike will apply to the daily base charge. Now, on average, single-family homes can anticipate an increase of up to $6.40 per month. It will be $4 for multifamily homes or apartments, and small businesses will pay about 80 cents a day. But the utility says this is all cause and effect of severe weather in 2014. Most notable, the deadly bomb cyclone. It cost PUD $16 million to restore power.
We've done a lot of cost-cutting measures to try to keep this rate increase as low as possible.
I mean, where do you cut? You got to eat, you got to pay rent or mortgage. You have to, provide, you have to survive.
PUD said it has money allocated for future weather events, but it's too soon to tell if this increase will cover their budget through March of 2026. PUD has an assistance program if you're struggling to pay your bills. We have details on our website at fox13seattle.com.
A major milestone for efforts to transform Seattle's waterfront. Mayor Bruce Harrell and community leaders celebrated the groundbreaking of the final piece of a major revitalization project. This is at Bell Street between Elliott and First Avenue. The project will improve access for people walking and biking between Belltown and the 20-acre waterfront park, creating a more active, green, and safe space.
And so this project invests $5.2 million of the $806 million invested in the total waterfront park project, our largest civic project since the Space Needle. And I've said this before, but I need to double down on the concept that the downtown is powered by people, their energy, their ideas, and reimagining public spaces core to our downtown activation plan. So this sort of missing piece of it if you will, is vital toward our continued success.
Construction is set to be completed by this summer.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. I'm Erin Mayofsky, and you're Bill Wixie.
I am. And thank you for joining us. Extended coverage on this Fox 13 Weather Alert Day. We have team coverage for you this morning. Sean Chitness and Maria Garcia are tracking snow throughout the region. Adam Gerke has the latest road conditions.
But first, let's get to Fox 13's Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan with a look at the forecast. Brian, how are things looking now?
Well, it's been a busy morning. The busiest part of our morning happened between, right when we went on air at 4:30 all the way up until about 7 or 8 o'clock as a round of snow showers just dumped on King and Snohomish counties. That band of showers has now dissipated, and now we are looking mainly dry around the Puget Sound area. But what do you notice at the bottom of the screen? It's all this now moving its way up into the area. The good news is that temperatures have warmed above freezing in a lot of locations. So unless we get a heavy downpour, which we very well could, we're going to be looking at a rain and snow mix. If you see a heavy downpour, that's where we could see kind of a quick hitting wet snow because temperatures are not quite warm as they need to be to prevent that from happening. So 32 up in Everett, we're at 34 in Seattle. Olympia, that's warmer than we've been all morning long. And out toward Tacoma, we're at 35. But in areas where we're seeing that shower activity develop, I'm going to be watching these areas closely here over the next hour or so because we could see some wet snow or at the very least what I like to call chunky rain in those areas. All right, we already saw the spotty morning snow. Now we're getting into an afternoon mix, rain and snow mix, and then later on tonight, as long as we hold on to that moisture and as long as temperatures cool off fast enough, we're going to be looking at another round of evening snow that may have impact more people this go round. Let's send it on over to Adam Gerke. He's got a check on traffic. It was a really tough morning commute, Adam.
Boy, it was, and this morning we saw some closures. We'll get into that in a second that brought up some good reminders for us. In the meantime, what we're seeing right now, northbound 167 getting in towards 405, looks like a small fender bender here off to the right shoulder. That continues to be one spot to watch for. Earlier this morning, we saw 405 move pretty slow getting into Bellevue, and actually a closure of northbound 405 reaching into Bellevue because of icy conditions. Crews have dealt with that now, but that was a closure that we saw last at least an hour and a half. So it's one of those things where we don't want to be sitting here with a low tank of gas, right? So today's a good day to gas up if you can. Make sure you've got that full tank of gas heading out. Still watching troubles on State Route 900 closer towards May Valley Road. That's the scene of a collision where traffic's been alternating through, as well as southbound 203 getting in towards Duval and right around Cherry Valley Road watching for another collision. All right, that being the case, been heading out onto the roads and sending crews out and about. Sean Chitness has been out in the Monroe area. Sean, what are you finding now?
Hey, Adam. Well, it's good to see that there are plenty of clouds that have been making their way at our spot. This is Highway 2 and Kelsey Street in Monroe. We just saw a washed up plow go in either direction of Highway 2 here. Saw some City of Monroe plows out there as well. And that's why Highway 2 is looking pretty good. You can see most of the road, if not all of it. But it was icy earlier in the morning, and so that is going to be a concern still, though, given the temperatures and the amount of wetness that's out there. There's also just a lot of snow on the roofs of buildings as well as trees. And so the wind has actually been blowing it, making it seem like it is snowing when it has stopped for quite some time. About 2 to 4 inches on the ground here. The parking lot's actually starting to clean up as well, some of that snow melting. So things getting better, but I think the challenge remains there, and drivers want to follow all of the guidance that we've been giving them about giving that extra distance and giving yourself some more time. There was plenty of snow on the car itself, likely, if you were starting your day in this part of Snohomish County. So that's the situation where we are. Let's check in with Maria Garcia to hear how things are happening over there. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Sean. I am still in Kirkland, and we want to give you a look at the situation we're looking at right now. Okay, so I'm in a neighborhood that is pretty close to downtown Kirkland. You can see a little bit clearer, but there's still some ice and snow. And as we approach a main artery, you're going to start to see how that snow starts to kind of disappear, melt, and the situation starts to improve. Of course, there are, as you can see, still quite a few hills in the Kirkland area, so that can be particularly tricky. I can tell you that we've warmed up just by a couple of degrees. We're hovering just above freezing right now. Once we get here on Market Street, we're at 14th Avenue and Market. You're going to see that road completely clear and movement just a lot easier. Still shiny and wet on the roadway, so since we're just above freezing, it seems that things are fine for now, but as we kind of bump between freezing and no longer freezing, good to keep in mind, especially if you're struggling to get out of your neighborhood. But as you can see, those main arteries in the Kirkland area, they are looking just fine, and we'll continue tracking the situation here in Kirkland and let you know how it's looking. For now, I'm going to send it to Carly Henderson in SeaTac. How is it looking over there for you, Carly?
It is looking gorgeous, Maria. Such a different story than when I was heading into work this morning. It felt like full-on blizzard conditions down there. But yeah, the sun is shining. Some of the snow is melting. If you take a look behind me, you can see the grass is appearing again. We've got all the ducks swimming around at this gorgeous lake. We're at Angle Lake Park. I don't know if you can see this gorgeous little husky down there, very friendly dog. His name is Wrangler, and he's very happy to be here frolicking all around. And definitely, you know, very exciting day weather-wise, exciting week, really. I feel like this is my third winter here. This week has felt like the most exciting of all of them. Driving down here from downtown this morning, you know, the roads were pretty clear. They were pretty wet, but it definitely felt like traffic is getting somewhat back to normal, at least on I-5 between downtown and the SeaTac area. We're about a mile from the airport right now. I know there have been 45 delays and about 19 cancellations so far today. So definitely, if you're taking a flight later today, check that status of that flight. You're going to want to know. I want to show you something else too, because people are really enjoying this. We are at this gorgeous park, and check out this little snowman. Oh, its eye fell out. I feel like, wait, let's put the stone back in the eye so it can see this beautiful view here at Angle Lake. This woman, when we drove up here, was just working very hard on it, and she was getting the hair right. I've never really seen a snowman with hair. You know, usually it's a top hat, but I'm very into it. I want to know, Brian McMillan, I know you're going to tell us what's coming up weather-wise. What do you think we should name our little snowman?
Oh my goodness! We're going to have to take a poll, okay, on that. That is the most Pacific Northwest-looking snowman I think I have ever seen.
Mr. Man. I was going to say it looks a bit Jamaican because it seems to have dreadlocks. So maybe he's Rastafarian. Maybe he's Marley.
Hey, that's a good.
Maybe Marley.
Marley, snowman.
I love
Marley
that.
Says hi.
Did you make that, by the way? Is that you? Is that your handiwork?
No. This was almost fully formed when we arrived here today.
Okay.
So this woman was just, I could tell she was being very careful about putting the little hair on there too, and she did a great job.
I want you to take good care of that snowman, okay? Because, yeah.
I will.
We may see some melting here as we get going throughout the rest of the morning hours. Thank you so much, Carly. Appreciate it out there at SeaTac.
Sure.
Let's take a peek at some other areas that we've been seeing snow this morning. This right here is up in Snohomish County, one of our best camera shots that we've seen all morning long out at the Arlington Airport. Even downtown Seattle had snow-covered roads at about 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning. A lot of folks coming into the station here this morning were greeted with snow. So dealt with that. Now we're looking much better, and traffic moving along just fine along Westlake. Those temps have warmed up, and then we're going to see those temps plummet yet again here tonight. Now, what I'm more concerned about is after we get past sunset tonight, but we have more moisture heading our way. This low-pressure system continues to hang out offshore. By the time we get into Friday, this is going to move its way onshore, okay? And that's going to help dry things out. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to see on and off showers throughout the rest of the day. We're mainly dry. We're getting a break through most of the Puget Sound area, but here comes the rain, or the rain and snow mix, and potentially some wet snow in some areas. That has now arrived in Lewis County, in the western parts of Lewis County. We're seeing that out towards Grays Harbor County, and then as you work your way out along the Long Beach Peninsula, Pacific County, gosh, yeah, it's coming our way pretty fast here. Current temperatures into the 20s and 30s. Most areas that would be initially impacted are above freezing. But again, we could see kind of a wet snow or a rain and snow mix, some chunky rain as we get into the later morning hours. All right, waves of showers will happen today. If you get those heavier downpours, it could be brief hitting wet snow. We'll watch that closely. But I'm more concerned about later on tonight as we continue to spin in moisture as those temperatures drop. And once we get past 8 or 9 o'clock, if we get down close to freezing, we're going to be seeing some snow accumulation around the area. So we'll be watching that closely. We will eventually run out of moisture as we get into the early morning hours. The big question will be, how long will that moisture hang on? That'll determine how much snow we get. So a weather alert for tomorrow as we bring in some more morning snow in the early hours, and then we should dry out the second half of Thursday and on into Friday. We'll stick with the chance of showers through the beginning of next week. All right, not snapping out of the cold quite yet. I think the hardware stores might be a little busy as people, you know, every time we get some actual accumulation, it's a wake-up call, right? I got to gas up my car. Where in the world is my snow shovel? Do I have salt or you know, de-icer for my driveway? You got to think about all those things. So I bet the hardware stores will be busy today, Adam.
Yeah, strong chance of that. Another item I like to find that you can find in your local grocer is good old kitty litter. I mean, the old clay-style, non-clumping kitty litter.
The cheap stuff.
The cheap stuff.
Yes.
It's dirt cheap. Cats love it, and so do I. And why? Because you can carry it in your trunk. And if you get stuck in a pickle and you need extra traction, you can sprinkle it under your tires, and it costs you next to nothing. And you get traction, and you can drive on. Kitty litter. Market. Meanwhile, northbound 167, still trying to get in towards 405. We're watching out for this collision on the right shoulder. That continues to be one distraction for us as drivers try and move their way into the Renton area. Still the difficulties on State Route 900, May Valley Road, or State Route 900 at May Valley Road, or 164th Southeast. That's been a collision we've been watching for. Southbound 203 getting in towards Cherry Valley Road, also watching for a collision moving into Duval. But notice the rest of the Puget Sound, this is actually shaped up quite nicely for us. A lot of folks taking it as a snow day, not a bad thing to do. And let's just heed that moment of caution, right? It was the early morning hours where we saw a lot of the ice and a lot of the buildup and really treacherous conditions, but now with the sun up, I think we're in reasonable shape. Getting out of your own surface streets and out of your own neighborhood, that's probably the bigger issue that we're dealing with right now. And to that end, driving slower, increasing your following distance. That's the best advice I have for you at this stage of the game. We've got more in store for you, though, here on Good Day Seattle, and that's all coming up right after this.
Meteorologist Brian McMillan, let's get you an updated look at your forecast here in this 10 o'clock hour. Extended coverage of Good Day Seattle. Boy, what a morning it was, especially during the dark hours of this morning commute. Our Lake Union camera right now at 34 degrees, and we have finally warmed up above freezing. We did get some significant snow in downtown Seattle, out on the east side, and especially up to the north in Snohomish County, areas like Bothell and Mill Creek, and then heading up even farther north up into Arlington, a dose of snow. In some areas, we got up to 4 inches. How about that? All right. We're dry right now for most areas, but guess what? Here comes this knocking on our door. Down to the south, we're seeing an initial heavier band of showers moving its way north. Thankfully, most of us are now above freezing. However, we could see in a heavy downpour some wet snow making its way all the way to the surface. I think for the most part, the daylight hours are going to bring us kind of a rain and snow mix today. Then, as we get past sunset, that's when things get a little more interesting once again. Right now, I would ignore like the colors and more think about where is the precip falling, okay? Because this could very well just be rain in many locations. You're seeing that right now along the I-5 corridor between Kelso and Chehalis. Out along the coastline, we did get reports of snow out that direction here this morning and continuing on into the later morning hours. I'm expecting that to switch over to a rain and snow mix. So spotty snow and icy spots this morning on the roadways. You're going to run into more of that as you get off the main paths. So off the highways, off the freeways, and you get into the neighborhoods. That's where we're going to see some of the slickest spots. And especially when this melts and gets all slushy, yeah, now we're talking very slippery conditions. More snow is possible later on tonight into Thursday morning. I think our morning commute tomorrow could be a little more treacherous in a more widespread fashion. This morning, it was more centered on King and Snohomish County. As we get into tonight and Thursday morning, it could be a little more widespread. But in the middle part of the day, we're going to see some warming, we're going to see some melting and some mixed showers. All right, I want to focus on Seattle here and various weather models that we look at. And this is why the forecast is so tough, okay? We got spotty showers coming at us. And so some of our models going with as much as 3 inches. The Canadian and European models both typically do a pretty good job, typically on the snowier side or the heavier side in regards to precipitation. But then we look at some of our American models, they're going with more like 1 to 2 inches. So I think 1 to 3 inches is a good forecast for all of us here. Some will get a trace. Some of us could see a little bit more than 3 inches. We'll see how it all pans out, but I would be prepared for something tonight and into tomorrow morning. Highs today topping out in the mid to upper 30s, close to 40 degrees in a lot of spots. We'll have that afternoon mix, and then that switches over to evening snow. And really in the overnight period, once those temps drop below freezing, we're going to be back down into the upper 20s here. So tomorrow morning's commute, regardless of how much snow we get, we're going to get some ice on the roadways as well. It's going to be a tough one for us. We get through that and we get into Friday. Things will be looking much better. I think we'll see some sunshine on Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy skies for your Friday, and then we're back to just kind of on and off shower chances Saturday through early next week. That is your weather. Let's check on traffic this morning with Adam. And Adam, look at that freeway. They're looking so much better than it was earlier this morning.
Oh, it is literally night and day, right? I mean, earlier this morning, it was still nighttime. It was still dark. We still saw snow. We saw ice. We saw ponding schmutz on the ground. Not at all the case right now on northbound 167. Right now, we've got a small collision off to the shoulder. Folks able to get by, but that's one distraction for us. The icier conditions do continue in some of the outlying areas, neighborhoods, surface streets, side streets, secondary streets, things like that. Still some concern for that. But the general rule has been we drive slower, you increase your follow-me distance, and you're in relatively decent condition for that. You can still continue on. But it looks like a lot of folks took today as a snow day. Not a bad thing, erring on the side of caution. We're going to find, though, that State Route 900 still has issues near about 164th Southeast. That's the scene of a collision that has traffic alternating through. And Duval, southbound 203, right as you get in towards Cherry Valley Road. That is another situation where we've had a collision taking up at least a lane. Rest of the sound, checking it out. Your volumes actually look to be in pretty decent condition. Have noticed with our mountain passes an actual uptick as far as the passability is concerned with our mountain passes. Because when we start looking at all of them, and I do mean all of them at this point, Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass, White Pass, Blewett Pass, Mount Baker Highway, and even even the West Tiger Mountain at this point. They're all coming in with traction tires advised, which is actually a step down. That's actually showing that they're quite passable with care. That being the case, we've had a number of reporters out around the Puget Sound area and around the Northwest. Right now, John Hopperstad, you are standing outside in downtown Seattle. What are you seeing from your vantage point?
Well, Adam, we get the sun out, so we've been seeing the melting going on over here in the last several minutes. In fact, there's not a lot of snow to see anymore. When we first came out here, there was snow at least on the grassy areas, on the vegetation. That's going away now as well. But I can say that there was significant snowfall overnight, at least for a good amount of time here. We got some video from earlier this morning, probably right around 4 o'clock. You could see the snow coming down, and it came down hard, and it did stick on the roads, and that was a major concern. Enough of a concern that Seattle schools decided to tell kids to stay home today. Now, they're not, out of school. They're still in school. It's remote learning, but they're not going into the classrooms. Keep those buses off the roads as well, just to be safe. But as it turned out, that snow didn't last that long, and then the melting began, and pretty much it didn't take long for us to see the roads clear out here. So that's what we've been dealing with this morning. We do have some wet roads still, but the temperatures are rising. No concerns about black ice at this point. The concern now is maybe tonight. I was listening to Brian McMillan talking about possibly 1 to 3 inches tonight into tomorrow morning. So we're not out of the woods yet here in Seattle from the snow. But as for today, right now, things looking pretty good, and we'll be right back.
How about that? I love
fantastic.
that. I love it. You don't get snow at the beach very often, so when you do, you got to get a picture, don't you? Gene in Granite Falls, look at that. Oh, yeah, that was one spot that got hit real hard this morning as that snow just kind of parked over Granite Falls. Christina in Seattle, this is Drew and Timber. I'm looking for Drew, and I'm looking for Timber, having snow much fun in West Seattle. Now, I don't know if they're dogs or chickens or what we're looking at there, but yeah. Candace in Kent, beautiful and cold, 31 degrees out there in Kent. Yeah, gorgeous, about an inch of snow in Kent this morning. Catherine in Duval had plenty of snow. That is a gorgeous shot here with the pond. Marcy out in Lake Bay. Yeah, Lake Bay was another spot that got some snow. About an inch there. Kelsey, ooh, that's a snow cat.
Wow.
A snow kitty.
Oh, that's some talent.
Wow. Okay, that's next level.
Anybody can make a snowman, but can you make a snow kitty?
No, I cannot.
Perfect.
Tori in Bothell. She says, this was me and my friends at school. We had so much. At school? Well, that looks like a house, but there you go. No school up in Bothell, by the way. North Shore canceled classes today. Tori in Bothell, this was me. Oh, wait. Well, maybe this is Tori at her school out there in Bothell. There you go. There's some snow on the trees up there. Joshua in Linwood, here you go. Yeah. What do we got going on?
Is that a big wheel? No.
Yes, this is fun. The little tricycle.
No, that's a big, we call that a big wheel, Brian.
Is it a big wheel? Okay.
Yeah, that looks like a big wheel.
And you get the big wheel drift.
And yeah, I love that.
You know what? You're right. Yes, doing donuts out there in the snow. Safer than doing it with the car. Christina in Seattle, look at that. That is another beautiful shot there with the snow on the trees and on the grass.
Well, and they also have the tree decked out for Valentine's.
Snow much fun.
I love it. Erica in Renton, here you go. This is Kate enjoying the morning snow. A little black lab there. The dog's loving it for sure. And we want to see more of your pictures. Go to fox13seattle.com/poll. We'll keep showing them here all morning long. And you know what? We're going to get another chance later on tonight. I'll have that full forecast for you coming up after the break right here on Good Days.
All right, just about 10:30 on this Wednesday morning. Hi, I'm Erin Mayovsky.
I'm Bill Wixie. Thank you for joining us here. We have extended coverage on this Fox 13 Weather Alert Day, and we have team coverage for you this morning.
Sean Chitnis and Maria Garcia are tracking the snow throughout the region. Adam Gerke has the latest road conditions.
Let's begin with Fox 13 Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan, the hardest working man in show business on days like today.
You know, tonight is going to be a particularly tough forecast, and here's the two reasons why. Okay, it's got to get cold fast enough, and the moisture has to be hanging on long enough. So if we cool down earlier on in the evening, well, we're going to be looking at more snow. If it takes a while, if it takes past midnight to cool down, we're looking at less snow. It's going to be interesting to see how long that moisture hangs on as well. But during the daylight hours, we're expecting more showers and some melting. Now, right now, as we work our way through Lewis and the south end of Thurston County, we are seeing this heavier band of showers now moving its way north. And this is going to impact the entire Puget Sound area at some point over the next couple of hours. It's likely going to be falling in the way of a rain and snow mix. Some heavier bands can push that cold air down to the surface and bring us some wet snow. We'll be watching that as well. 32 in Everett, we're at 34 in Olympia. So these kind of temperatures, slightly above freezing, can still give us kind of a chunky rain. And if you get a heavy enough downpour, yes, it can bring us some wet snow. We'll be watching that closely as that moves north. All right, 38 will be your high today in Seattle. So after this, we'll get into an afternoon mix, and then we're going to be looking at evening snow developing. The timing of that, how much moisture will be left over, well, I'll have details on that coming up here in just a few minutes. I want to send it over to Adam, who's been checking out the roads here. They have gotten better as the temperatures have warmed, but still some problem areas.
Yeah, so watching right now north on the Valley Freeway, this trouble continues for us getting in towards 405, a collision on the shoulder. Probably not even related to the kind of slushy, icy conditions that we've seen around the Sound. Right now we're dealing with mostly bare and wet conditions on our highways and byways in through Snohomish, King, and Pierce counties. Do have a few slick spots in the outlying areas, such as southbound 3 closer in towards Duval, watching near Cherry Valley Road, a collision. Noticing with our road weather index on, I'm also seeing the pink color, indicating we've seen some ice in places. White meaning snow, pink meaning ice, yellow meaning fog. You get the idea. You can follow along right up here with your very own chart. But what this has meant for us is that around the Sound, in the outlying areas, municipalities, neighborhoods, smaller surface streets, secondary streets, that's where we're still seeing some of that icy condition as you get rolling this morning. And that's where I would caution you to keep your speeds slow and low. Increase that following distance. You're going to need that. And then as you head out onto these highways, do the same. It's one of those mornings we're just going to have to take it a little bit easier. Aaron and Bill, back over to you. Oh, actually, looking to Sean Chitnis up in the Monroe area. Sean, what are you finding in from your vantage point now?
Hey, Adam. Well, picking up on what you were just saying, Snohomish County Public Works did put out some guidance earlier this morning, posting on X that it is, in fact, their focus to worry about the major streets, and so people do need to be careful about those side streets. That is where it may be slick. Now, look, there's still plenty of snow on the grass, I would say. We're in a parking lot, and most of the snow is pretty much gone here. It's melted. And then this is Highway 2 right next to us by Kelsey Street, and you can see the road looking pretty good, too. We saw plenty of plows coming by us, both from the city and WashDOT, and again, that's what the county is saying, is that they've been able to prioritize these main roads. 24 vehicles out and about this morning, continuing the work that they've been doing from earlier in the week. But still, be careful about those side streets there. And, you know, there is still plenty of snow and some ice that we had to deal with as we were coming into town here. We've been here for a few hours now, but conditions looking good for the most part. Still, though, of course, give yourself some more time. There's still plenty of traffic here on Highway 2. So follow all of those rules, as we say, about giving yourself more distance and trying to clear the car as well. All right, let's head over to Maria Garcia. She was last in Kirkland. And Maria, how are things looking over there?
Sean, still hanging out in Kirkland, but I'm calling it 10:32, and we've hit the fun part of the snow day for so many people in the Kirkland area. Okay, I want to show you this right here. We were kind of traveling through the neighborhoods and stumbled upon a hill that is still a bit icy, actually, but we came to the lower portion of it because, well, you see it there. The kiddos in the neighborhood are having a really good time sliding down this short hill, making the best of the snow day today, as so many school districts are closed or have been delayed. You may be able to tell from this camera shot, but there is some snow melt going on. We're still hovering at right above freezing temperature right now, hanging out at 33, 34 in the Kirkland area, but we are seeing some melting. You can see that in this parking lot that we're parked in. But, you know, generally I think that's because the sun comes in and out, and it gets quite bright actually at some point. So if there's not a lot of shade, we're seeing some of that snow melt. I can see it in the trees right above the car as well. But people certainly having a wonderful time. These kiddos really making the best of the snow day. And we do want to remind people that those neighborhood streets, though, even though this is so much fun, are still a bit slippery. So certainly important to keep in mind that there could be families and children playing if you're coming down those neighborhood hills. So take it extra slowly. In our time in the Kirkland area, we only saw one crash in the downtown area. Not super clear on what happened there, but it was at the bottom of a hill during what is a snow day. But for now, we're going to keep having a wonderful time in Kirkland. And Carly, I know you were making friends with some puppies over there, girl. Are you still having a good time in SeaTac?
Yes, I am. Puppies, snowmen, all of it, you know, and we are here in the SeaTac area. We're about a mile from the airport right now, and I want to give you a little update. I just checked for you. There have been 84 delays, 20 cancellations so far today. So if you're flying out, definitely refresh the status of that flight, because you are probably going to be happier if you are waiting that delay out at home rather than sitting at the airport. I know someone who had an 8-hour delay the other day, and they were just in the airport on and off the plane. So definitely refresh the status if you're taking a flight. So this would be a great place to wait it out. Say you have someone who's flying in and they're a little bit delayed, or maybe you're on your way and you found out that you need to kill a little bit of time before getting to the airport. We're seeing the kids showing up right now. They brought the sleds here, so they are definitely making the most of the snow that we have here. The sun was out quite a bit earlier today. It's a little cloudy right now, but so a lot of the snow here has melted, but they're like so excited. This reminds me of being a little kid and just making the most of it. It doesn't happen all the time here. So let's see if she's gonna go. Oh, I see someone over to the side throwing snowballs and having fun here. They're doing a pretty good job here too of keeping everyone safe. You know, we've got some caution tape here on the pier, definitely making sure to let people know that they don't want people walking on these slippery surfaces like this fishing pier right here. Not everybody is following the rules, but they are doing their best here. So that's what's happening down in SeaTac. Brian McMillan, tell us what we can expect.
You know what I love about Pacific Northwesterners? We make the most out of the littlest amount of snow. We can make a snowman out of a half-inch of snow. That girl was sledding, and it was just a dusting out there. So I love it. I love it. The more, the merrier here. Let's get to it. Take a look at Arlington. This is one of the spots where you probably could take a sled and get some runs in. Lake Union camera is looking so much better than it was earlier this morning. The sun is now shining here on West Lake Union, and or South Lake Union, I should say. 34 is your temperature right now. So you got the sun up, got the temps above freezing. We're starting to see some melting, but I'm watching some more showers moving their way into the area, and those are coming in from the south. These are going to continue to track their way north now into Thurston County and Lewis County. If you're out in Chehalis, you're seeing a rain and snow mix. These will continue north up into Tacoma here over the course of the next hour or so. Current temperatures are in the low 30s out in Everett. We're at 34 in Port Townsend and Seattle, and warmer down in Puyallup at 37 degrees. So for most of the afternoon, I'm not terribly worried about these showers that are going to move in. They're likely going to be just kind of a rain and snow mix or just plain old cold rain. Then once we get past dinner time, that's where things get interesting yet again. The big question will be, how fast will it get below freezing? How fast will that cold air kind of settle in? And how long will the moisture hang on? So right here at 8:30, we got a lot of shower activity happening. If that's falling as snow at that point, we're going to have a rough night and a rough morning ahead. However, I do think that it may hang on until about midnight. That's when we'll start to see that snow developing, and then it'll continue into the early morning hours. But notice that we start drying out by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that sweet spot will be somewhere around 9 o'clock tonight up until about 3 or 4 a.m. tomorrow. That'll be the sweet spot for some snow here this evening. It'll be really interesting to see how things pan out. My forecast for tonight is 1 to 3 inches of snow for most of the area from about Everett down to Chehalis. There will be some spots that get less or barely anything, and there may be a few isolated spots that get more than that. Thursday morning could be a rough commute, so make sure to stay tuned to the forecast tonight and tomorrow morning. We get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to continue with some spotty showers, although I do think Friday looks like a dry day. All right, that is your weather. Let's send it on over to Adam. He's got a check on traffic here at 10:38.
Yep, and Brian, having a look in through the Bellevue area, this is northbound 405, getting you towards Southeast 8th. This was the scene earlier this morning that was incredibly treacherous for us. Kind of a blurry camera at this point, but what we saw earlier this morning was the complete closure of northbound 405, and that because of an early on collision and icy conditions moving on northbound 405. And this stretch between Renton and Bellevue was difficult yesterday. It was difficult today, this morning, early on. Right now, it seems to be quite passable, bare and wet, I would say. And that, in fact, continues around a lot of the Puget Sound. But getting out of your own neighborhoods this morning, still a slick start, something we need to be concerned with. Increasing your following distance, slowing yourself down. Those are the two big tips I have for you. That and the fact that because we saw that closure this morning, I would encourage folks to maybe fill up today on gas. Because imagine if you got stuck in that backup that was closed for an hour and a half, unanticipated, right? You didn't see that coming. And maybe you were near E and you thought you were going to get gas a little bit later. Imagine you could be a disabled vehicle in that backup. It would be miserable and you would be cold and it would not be fun. So thinking about gassing up while we head into this very cold week right now, I think that's probably in your best advice. Also, perhaps starting to carry a blanket in the back of the car as well. Not a bad point if you haven't done that already. Around the rest of the region, we are seeing volumes that check in pretty reasonable shape, at least for the time being. This is Good Day Seattle, and we've got more for you right after this.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan. Thanks for sticking with us here for extended coverage of this weather alert day. And let's get to it. I think most of the day is, at least during the daylight hours, is going to be looking warmer. We're going to see some melting. We're going to see some rain or kind of a rain and snow mix. And we're seeing that down to the southwest here over the greater Portland metro area and out along the coast. These showers continuing to spin up into the Seattle area. And most of these showers are going to be just that, a rain and snow mix. We're seeing that now in Chehalis. That might be just plain old rain there. And then that stretches up into Thurston County as well. So this will continue to track its way north. Temps are well above freezing down in that area. But between now and sunset, we're going to be warming. We're going to be melting. This afternoon, you can expect that mix of rain and snow. Perhaps if we get a heavier band of showers, it could produce some wet snow, quick hitting in an isolated location. But I'm not terribly worried until after sunset as we get into the evening tonight, where I am expecting some additional snow accumulation. A trace to 3 inches is possible. There's going to be some areas that get nothing or a trace, and there will be some areas that get potential for 2 to 3 inches or even more in some of the higher locations. This is a tough Thursday morning commute for us shaping up. As long as those temperatures cool down fast enough and as long as the moisture hangs on, it makes it a tough forecast, because the nature of this forecast with these on and off showers makes things a little tough. I want to throw a bunch of numbers at you real quick here. This is for Seattle, and these are the various weather models that we're looking at. Okay, you have less than an inch in Seattle, all the way up to more than 3 inches in Seattle. Okay, so I think the forecast 1 to 3 inches is pretty spot on. Let's take a closer look at a couple of these models. This is one of the more conservative models, and this one has some areas seeing barely anything like Tacoma, Seattle catching a little closer to 2 inches. All right, this is one of our more aggressive models, bringing us 1 to 3 inches, maybe even a little bit more towards Seattle. This is the European model. So if you're rooting for snow, root for this one. If you don't want as much snow, root for the other one. And the bottom line is I would be prepared for at least something to wake up to tomorrow morning, and that will likely impact schools and our morning commute. So morning snow showers and afternoon mix evening snow. Put that on repeat here today, kind of what we saw in days past. But the bottom line is we're going to be looking at another cool couple of days ahead. I see after tomorrow morning snow drying out through the rest of Thursday and through Friday as well. We will see some isolated showers as we head into your weekend and into early next week. Upper 30s for highs, overnight lows will remain below freezing. And Adam, I had a viewer email me and say, hey, when are we going to snap out of this? When are we going to warm things up? I want to get some projects done outside. I don't see that happening until late next week. Probably Thursday or Friday, we'll finally get back into the 40s.
That viewer didn't happen to be me.
Well, you've been asking me quite a bit, too. Maybe, did you use a fake email and a fake name and email?
No. But I like minds think alike. I like this. This is, so projects to be done.
Oh, and by the way, can I say one more thing, Adam, before I go?
Yeah.
Spring, the official start of spring is in 47 days. So I thought I would just tell you all that today because it's around the corner, okay? It's around the corner.
It can't get here fast enough. All right. In the meantime, things we've got to be worried about. Right now, getting in through Bellevue, just notice the damp and wet pavement that you're working with here, and that really seems to be the case for drivers moving up and down 405, I-5, 90 and 520 here in the lowlands at this point. We're dealing with barren wet conditions for the most part. All of our iced up roads looking to be in the thaw mode at this point. I do want to make mention of the fact, though, that I have heard that Sounder Rail, Line 1, which is the main one that runs between Linwood and Angle Lake, right now is running 15 to 20 minutes delayed because of an unhealthy and unsanitary biological condition on one of the trains. I'll let your mind run with that. But they're apparently going to be replacing that train, or trains, plural, and getting things back on schedule as soon as possible. But that could delay your trip to the airport. Something to think about. Meanwhile, they've also found that drivers trying to scooch their way anywhere else around the region have been in fairly workable condition, except as we start looking to the north. And Monroe has been one of those points of concern that we've had. In fact, we sent Sean Chitness out. Sean, we're going to check in with you here just this one last time. What are you finding now? You've been tracking this all morning long.
Yeah, Adam, it feels like this is the calmest we have been able to see the weather since we have been busy all morning. Fernando and I, my photographer, starting in Seattle, then working our way up to Everett and then east over here to Monroe. We haven't had snow for quite some time. The only snow that we're really feeling is the snow that is falling from buildings and trees. So here's one last look at Highway 2 here at Kelsey Street, where the road is looking good. We know that Snohomish County crews are out as well as washed out, and the city of Monroe, they are prioritizing these main streets, but say you got to give them time and also be careful, especially on those side streets, because there is enough snow on the ground and there's just not enough time to try and get to all of those places as quickly as you may like. So keep that in mind if you are going to be driving the rest of the day. That's the last look here at Monroe. This is our special coverage of a weather alert day on Fox 13, and we will be right back.
Welcome back, 10:50. Many of us woke up to snow across our region today. This is a look at West Seattle around 7:30 this morning. You could see most of the side streets were covered, but main streets looked okay. This is from Mercer Island, and there was plenty of snow on the ground there at the early hours. And as we look to Lake Stevens, you can see lots of snow out there on the ground this morning. Really
go
pretty.
Cougs.
I guess I have to say go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
We need a Husky to send a Husky flag in there and say go Dogs.
All right, well, check this out. WashDOT shared this video of coyotes having fun in the snow. This is on the Snoqualmie Wildlife Overpass on I-90 as you head over Snoqualmie. And these videos are from over the weekend, but the coyotes getting in on the fresh snow as well. In Leavenworth, a viewer sent in this video, and you see the deer?
Yep.
There in the...
You had to look quick.
Yeah, the lower part of the screen there, we're going to see it again. It's going to loop around once again.
Just
and
kind of
you'll
meandering.
see this big buck walking by there. What a beaut there. And in Issaquah earlier this morning, Carly Henderson took her her dog Waffles out to take a little stroll in the snow and get the business done, which can be, you know, a little more challenging with fresh snow on the ground. Looks like they got about 3 inches out there.
All right, well, it is time for our mega poll. And if you're seeing any winter weather conditions, we definitely want to see those. You've been so great so far at sending us your photos. You can scan that QR code right on the top right of your screen. And here's a look from, well, is this Bernie? I can't tell.
Benny.
Benny.
Yeah, first snow.
Yeah, look at that.
Licking his lips.
Look, Connor.
I think maybe Benny licked some of that snow maybe. And then the dogs love the snow. I mean, this is Love from Dizay in Paulsbo. Loving the snow, and you gotta love nature as well. The squirrels, they're always busy. Come rain, snow, sleet, whatever.
We've seen so many great pictures. This one I like a lot because you can see just a little bit of everything here. You've got the dusting of the snow, some blue sky, a little bit of cloud cover, and the sun shining right through.
Yeah, that's from
nice
Goldie and Stanwood. Great view there. And this is Alki at dawn this morning. Kind of a frozen Alki beach there with the dog in the foreground. That's a great shot.
Okay, Kelsey in Lake Stevens. Another little picture of the bird feeders and the cafe lights coming through. And you can always see those branches. They're covered with the snow early on in the morning, but it was pretty cold out there. And Kim in Monroe, hey, some good snow out there.
Yeah.
You can tell with the fresh tracks with the dog and the human tracks out there. Is that Waffles as well?
That's Waffles, yeah. Hey. We have 2 Waffles featured in the snow pictures this morning. A lot of snow out there in Monroe, too. Dorothy, Chip, and Benny. Loving the snow.
Oh.
Yeah, a game of snow tag out there in the backyard. That's great. That's the scene in La Conner this morning.
They're always wondering what to do, right? Okay, what are these guys doing? Anne in Gig Harbor, snowball fight. That's what it is right out there.
And then Stephanie in Newport Hills sent this in, and I agree. It is beautiful there. Newport Hills getting a nice bunch of snow this morning. Well, maybe not so nice when you need to drive down off of the hills in Bellevue. And if you're seeing any winter weather, we'd love to see your photos, and we'll be back at it tomorrow morning because more is on the way. We have details on that coming. All right, welcome back to this Weather Alert Day coverage here on Fox 13 and Good Day Seattle. Thanks for hanging late with us today. Okay, we were talking about the models and the amounts of snow that these models were predicting over the next 24 hours. Which one are you most inclined to believe, and what do you think we'll see?
I think, you know, there's a couple of models that are going real aggressive with up to 3 inches of snow. That might be a little bit much for the greater Seattle area as a whole. I think it's going to be a lot more spotty, okay? So I think some of the more conservative models that are going in the 1 to 2 inch range is probably a little more likely. We've seen over the past few nights where it takes a while for us to get back to freezing. It doesn't happen right when the sun goes down.
And you're talking about Seattle proper here, right?
Exactly, yeah. So anywhere basically from Everett to Chehalis, I think we could see 1 to, in some areas, 3 inches of snow.
So that's going to create a lot of problems, though, in the commute.
It would. But this, again, there will be some areas that get nothing. So it's bands of showers that push through. That makes it really tough, okay? But just be prepared tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at just my forecast over the next 24 hours or so. So now to sunset. Warming. Melting, rain in the forecast as well. Maybe a rain and snow mix. Heavier bands could produce some wet snow, so keep that in mind if it drags that cold air down at the surface. And then tonight through Thursday morning, we could see some additional accumulation. Again, a trace in some areas, up to 3 inches in some isolated areas. It will likely be a tough Thursday morning commute for some of us, okay? It may not be widespread tough morning commute, but it will be tough in some spots. Even if we don't get snow, it's going to drop down into the 20s again. And we're going to be looking at some really icy conditions by tomorrow morning as well. So no matter what, it's going to be a tough morning commute tomorrow.
And that's, you know, the ice is really what's been paralyzed us in the morning, these last 2 mornings, along 405 in right between the Renton curves and getting into Bellevue. We've seen full closures of 405.
Yeah.
This morning, it was northbound getting into Bellevue much earlier this morning. But the thing I want to caution drivers to, if today's your day, gas up, because if you get stuck in a car that's stuck in a backup that's closed for an hour and a half and you were near E to begin with, you're going to be that disabled vehicle sitting in the backup pretty quickly, and that's no good for you either. So.
And that was a huge backup this morning.
It was a huge backup.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've been dealing with that, and the overpasses as well. I mean, those elevated bridge decks, those are the ones that freeze over. I was noticing that this morning, coming in on some of those roads that weren't treated yet.
Yeah, bridges, overpasses, on-ramps, off-ramps, and specifically the places also that stay kind of shaded. You know the places I'm talking about. So
basically, it's just going to be one of those mornings where we're going to be pretty slick out there on the roadways. Take some time, pack your patience, give everybody a little space.
And stick with us tomorrow morning. We'll be here for you.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can watch more news, interviews, and video from Fox 13 anytime on our connected TV app.
That's right. The Fox Local app is free to download anywhere you get your TV streaming apps. We'll have updates on our live stream all day long from the Fox Local Live Desk. We'll have all of our crew down there bringing you the very latest of this Weather Alert Day. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early.
I yield back to the ranking member.
Thank you. Just real quickly, and does Elon Musk bring some specialty or some expertise in terms of ameliorating or cutting back or pruning or making qualitative judgments about the value of the programs you described that are being hurt right now? Does he bring some special expertise to that task?
He does not. He has not shown any interest in the issues that affect Phoenix or any other city that I've heard of.
And that would be quite different than the process that we saw unfold in the reform effort in Iowa, would it not?
What I heard from the governor was very different than what I've seen thus far. There were no funding freezes. Programs were actually being evaluated. It sounds like what was happening in Iowa was actually about efficiency, where this is about illegally dismantling our government and taking away from the American people.
I thank my colleague for yielding.
Pursuant to the previous order, Governor Reynolds is excused. And Governor, thank you so much for appearing here today. Chair now recognizes Mr. McGuire.
Ask the governor a question, but I understand you have to go, but I just can't tell you how much our country is grateful to what you've done in Iowa, and I'm so excited that you want to continue that type of efficiency and work with DOJ and with President Trump's administration. We have a great country, and it needs to make sense, and I love what you said. We need the best practices and the right people. Thank you. So my questions, I'll divert those questions a little bit. But first of all, I would say is that I don't think we can remind folks, especially folks on their side, enough, is that through the grace of God, President Trump won a mandate on November 5th. He won the popular vote, the Electoral College, and the American people have spoken. And I don't understand why every time he puts in an executive order or makes a decision, it surprises folks, because every decision I'm seeing is what he campaigned on, and that's what the American people voted for. I would tell you this, there is a war on common sense, and it's really an effort for all of us to bring our country back to common sense. We have to have a meritocracy. We have to have the right people in the right place, or people get killed. And we don't have time to go over all the examples. I would say, as a small business owner, if the government was a business, the government would be out of business. We are spending more per day than we bring in per day, and that is not sustainable. If the government were to build a car, first of all, it would cost overruns. It would cost $1 million, and nobody in this room would buy it. It is amazing what the free market can do and how innovative it is. We probably saw Elon Musk created this rocket for 10 times cheaper what it would cost the government to do the same thing. And I heard some folks on the other side talk about these young people involved in what's going on with our data. But I want to remind them that young people are very capable. You ought to research the ages of our founding fathers, like Thomas Jefferson, when they created this amazing country. But if you look at the young people, saved the world during World War II on the Normandy beaches from Nazism. So young people are quite capable, and if you have the bright young minds, I don't care. I got to tell you, as a veteran, if you saved my life on the battlefield, I wouldn't care if you call yourself a Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care if you're young or old or pink or blue. We're all Americans, and we're in big trouble. And I think we're on the way to a sovereign debt crisis because we're spending so much. And I hear this talk, and we all know the government's not efficient. Corporate America and the corporate world is talking about how people perform better face-to-face in an office environment. And so we want to bring people back to work, yet folks on the other side are saying it's a terrible thing to bring people back to work. I got to tell you, people in my district have to go to work every day, and they don't understand why people who work in the government don't have to go back to work. We also heard a testimony in this committee about a week or so ago about a guy it took him 3 years to fire. I talked to a very, very successful businessman on breakfast yesterday, and he said if we have a guy who's not performing, we get rid of him in 3 minutes. We need to make the right decision. So my first question, and I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong, Mr. Schatz.
Yes, sir.
We're listening here to a committee hearing happening in Washington, D.C., discussing the size of the federal government and the potential cuts that could be coming within this week. In fact, we want to step away for our first commercial break of this new hour here at Live Now from Fox. But before I do so, I want to touch on a developing story that we are following very closely and put up this social media post from Fox News correspondent Chad Pergram, in which he says, Fox confirms McConnell falls down Senate stairs after voting to confirm Scott Turner as a Housing and Urban Development Secretary. Unclear about injuries, but Fox is told he appears to be okay. McConnell was helped up by Senator Steve Daines of Montana and Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma. A little bit more context as I also bring up this picture of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. So the latest we know is that former Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky fell on a small set of stairs Wednesday, that's today, as he was exiting the Senate chamber after a confirmation vote for Housing and Urban Development Secretary nominee Scott Turner. McConnell, who is 82 years old and a survivor of childhood polio, fell down the stairs and was quickly assisted, as you know, by a couple of senators who were on hand. It is not clear whether he suffered any injuries, but Fox News was told the former leader appears to be okay. McConnell's office did not immediately provide comment to Fox News Digital. So we're going to keep monitoring that story, bring you any developments as soon as we get them. We're stepping away for a brief commercial break at Live Now from Fox. We continue with more of these live events next. Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. My name is Karal Lahara, and I'm taking you out to Washington, D.C. once again for a different event this time, a news conference that has just gotten started. So take a look at this. We are about to listen to House of Representative Democrats and the family of Brian Sicknick. He was a Capitol Police officer who was killed in the January 6th riots. Now, all of these members are holding a news conference regarding some of the pardons that have been brought forth by President Trump for those who participated in the riots. Let's watch.
Criminals out there, just be sure to wear a MAGA hat while you commit your crime, and you're free as a bird because Orange Oprah will give you a pardon too. I will continue to speak out about the injustices I see being done to my family, to Brian's service and memory, and to his brothers and sisters in law enforcement, even though I may feel powerless myself. I will not let the true events of January 6th be forgotten or deliberately erased from history. I quote Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel, "What hurts the victim most is not the cruelty of the oppressor, but the silence of the bystander." Do not let what occurred on January 6th, 2021 be forgotten.
Thank you, Ken. You know, we can all sympathize with the Sicknick family, but we can't empathize with them because we don't know the degree of pain that they've had to address. But having to revisit these issues, having to live through these pardons, just reawakens and reminds them of the pain that they've had to go through. Now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague from Mississippi, the gentleman who has been the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, is now the ranking member, but the gentleman has used his voice as a chairman of the January 6th committee to investigate what happened in this country and that dark day, and has been a strong voice for all of us. Benny Thompson.
Thank you very much. Let me say I join in support of this resolution because it speaks volumes as to who we are as a country. Anytime individuals attack this great capital of ours, anytime they assault law enforcement officers, they need to be called out. What you saw that happened on January 6, 2021, it really happened. It was not patriots. It was not people speaking their First Amendment rights. These were insurrectionists attacking their government. And in this democracy, that should never happen. So we are here in support not only of the resolution, but still letting the Sicknick family know that Brian's death will never, ever be forgotten. More importantly, what you see happening right now should give us all reason for pause. Now, the people who did the hard work of tracking these 1,500 people down are now being told you didn't do your job. Now, these people either pleaded guilty or they were found guilty. So many of them assaulted law enforcement people, and for now, they are being rewarded, and the people who are being patriots are being punished. And so this administration ought to be ashamed of itself. We will never let what's being done be forgotten. And as Americans, we're better than this. And so because we're better than this, we'll call Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and all his compatriots out and let them know that America is not for sale to the billionaires or the millionaires, because we all love this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'd like to hear from Representative Beyer, who actually was the member who represented Mr. Sicknick when he was working for the Capitol Police. I'd also like to mention, if I might, that we have other members with us here today. Abigail Spanberger from the 5th District in Pennsylvania, and Madeline Dean, who is from the 4th District in Pennsylvania, and Hank Johnson, who is from Georgia 4. And so we're just delighted that we are joined by them. We also have a face you all know, former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn with us. Now, Mr. Byer.
Thank you, Bonnie, very much. Let me also add that Mary Gay Scanlon from Pennsylvania is with us today also. And Bonnie, thank you so much for your leadership, for introducing this resolution. I want to thank Ken Sicknick for what he said, and express my support for him and the rest of the Sicknick family, Charles and Gladys, Brian's parents, his other brother Craig, Brian's partner Sandra Garza, and all the family. Brian stood for the service, sacrifice, and patriotism for the best of our country, and you have carried on his legacy. I'm proud to have represented Officer Sicknick and many more of the first responders who protected us and our democracy on January 6th. They did so at great personal cost. We all know what happened to Brian. I still remember getting the call to tell me that a constituent had died and learning more about him and what he'd done. It's heartbreaking. So I can never forget or forgive Donald Trump betraying the